Hello there, this is part 2 of Robbie and I's top 10 favourite films of 2020. If you haven't seen part 1, go and watch that and see what our 10s through 6 were of our favourite films of 2020. And go to that there. But if you've already seen that, enjoy part 2, where Robbie and I go through our top 5 favourite films of 2020. UK release. Enjoy. Top five now. I'm kind of good that this film's number 5 and not in the top 3, but shit happens. This is Celine Sciamma's Portrait of a Lady on Fire. Maybe my favourite cinematography on the air, Robbie.
Okay, I haven't seen this one.
And I'm going to say this to you now, Robbie. What's the point of us doing the Muse when Portrait of a Lady on Fire exists? That's what I'm going to say. That's what I'm going to say. Because everything that I wanted to do for the Muse, the vibe, the dialogue, the moments where there's minutes of just painted.
Right.
And it's enchanting. And it's calm. But also really, it's like when you watch the waves crash against the rocks, it's almost kind of like, what is the universe? It gives that vibe where you just see and just paint on a canvas.
Yeah.
And it's borderline ASMR, and it's equally as philosophical, and it's everything I wanted to do in the Muse.
Yeah.
But it was done fucking impeccable with this. So what's the point? Is what I say. But
it's one of those movies that pisses you off with how good it is.
I saw this after everything with the Muse. I think I watched this during lockdown.
Yeah.
So, which also a very apt lockdown film, because I'm not sure if you know anything about it, Robbie.
I know absolutely nothing.
It's a French period piece, and a painter goes to, it's almost like a secluded French island.
Yeah.
Where a wealthy girl is getting pushed into marriage, and she needs a portrait painted of her. But the thing is, if she knew but she doesn't know about her planned marriage and that, or she doesn't know, she refuses to get a portrait painted of her because she just doesn't she's basically fuck this whole thing with it. Yeah. So at first, this painter's been brought in to just be not a minder, but almost like another maid, another assistant to her. Okay. And the painter, she has to almost memorize her, so then she can paint her when she doesn't know. Yeah. And then other things happen. It's a beautiful film in all sorts of ways. There's no score, so it's atmosphere. Pure just atmosphere. And it's again, on this small French island, you hear the waves sometimes. You hear it's very tranquil, is the way I'll say it as well. And the costume designs are impeccable as well. It's a film that it was at first discussed to be shot on film, but then Celine Sciamma felt that she was going to shoot it on digital. She shot on a red, I think. 8K. 8K red. And so she...
What?
Yeah, and so because she felt like the way 8K digital, it'll capture the colours more vividly than if she did it on film.
Right, okay.
And it fucking works. The colours pop, they wear just bright red dresses, bright green dresses. The colour theory is just, you can look into it in all sorts of ways.
Right, okay.
It's amazing. And again, it's another film. It's another gay romance film written, directed by a gay woman. Same thing as Happiest Season, with the two main actresses also gay. So it's and it feels, and I'm going to say, because I also watched Blue is the Warmest Colour, another French film about another gay romance French film. And I have side issues with Blue is the Warmest Colour in the sense of I wouldn't say Blue is the Warmest Colour is a film about love. It's a film about lust, in the sense of where blue is the warmest color, the vibe I get from that film. Again, I hear about some people who watch Blue as the Warmest Color, and that was the film that made them feel like they could come out. All power to people like that. And all power for the film giving them that thing. From the perspective of a straight white man watching Blue as the Warmest Color, watching Blue as the Warmest Color, I watch that film and I think to myself, I don't buy that they love each other apart from the fact of like they like to have sex with each other. Whereas Portrait of a Lady on Fire, it almost their relationship builds to a point where like you get it and it becomes love, but then when it becomes lustful, it feels quite like natural in the sense of
sort of in a way.
Like, and I mean, because Blue is the Warmest Color has like an 8-minute sex scene in it, and whereas like Portrait of a Lady on Fire doesn't really have a sex scene in it. You almost see foreplay happening, and then it cuts to them laying in bed, and then just talking.
Right, okay. Yeah.
So it's very sensual as well. It is a very sensual film, but almost from the vibe that oozes from it. Like it's not like
it's subtle in the way it does it.
Yeah, I mean,
kind of similar to Call Me by Your Name in that way.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. It's that type. Like it just feel it's just a sensual film by aesthetic.
Yeah.
Like and then like the film, man, and again, it's. I think I've only seen it twice. I saw it once just sitting down watching it, and I watched it a second time in a different way in the sense of like I think I was just I wanted to try to do some drawing. I was trying to practice some anime drawing because I just wanted to do it.
Oh, nice.
So I just stuck that on my telly while I was doing that, and it's quite a peaceful thing to do. If you've already seen the film as it is. It's almost a perfect peaceful film to also have on while you're trying to be creative.
Cool.
Like it's wonderful. And the reason why I said it's like it's a perfect lockdown film in a sense is because it's like these it's mainly like 4 characters in it, and like they're just on this locked away, like not locked away, but this island removed from everything else.
Yeah, it's kind of isolated and a nice little encapsulated story.
And there's another film on my list that's similar, and that's all I'll leave off from that. But Portrait of a Lady on Fire, I think you would appreciate, Robbie. I really do. And
it's one that I've definitely got on my list to watch because all I've heard is good things.
Yeah,
it's one of those where not a single review I've heard is negative.
Again, if you can try watch it on as big of a telly as you can with the best quality that you can.
Yeah.
So don't be a fucking bitch and just watch it on DVD, you absolute heathen.
Right. You know what? I'm sick of the abuse that DVDs get in this day and age.
Because they're worthless. They have no use anymore.
What? No.
It's Blu-rays.
No.
Just buy a Blu-ray.
Fuck your Blu-ray. I'm happy with the 179 DVDs that I own.
And so you should, Robbie, but you should also upgrade.
You know what? I'm genuinely upset at the moment because they're all in Hartlepool.
Oh no!
I can't watch anything. Hang on, I'll turn off my my virtual background for a second because I just want to show you this. Right, this is my bedroom, everyone. I'm really sorry. See that thing there?
Yeah.
That's the mount on the wall that my telly's supposed to go on. It's devastating to look at it every day, honestly. Back to Sydney. I just honestly, because my telly, you might be thinking, but Robbie, if it has a wall mount, then surely it can't stand up on its own. And you would be correct because it's currently wedged into the corner of my room to make it stand up on top of a desk.
It terrifies me every time I've walked in there and just seen it. I'm like, you need to do something about that.
I feel like when I get back to Hartlepool, it's just going to be flat on its face, just smashed into a million pieces.
You're gonna go back to Hartlepool. Leo's in your bed and the telly's on the floor smashed.
He's already there. I don't understand how he's done that.
That's what I mean. So he's probably Kevin McAllister in it in Titan.
Well, He was trying to pressure me the other day into mailing him my keys for my flat. Because he said that he wanted a change of scenery from his flat to go downstairs and go into my flat. And also he said, I left a bag of chips in your freezer before we came back for Christmas. And I wanted to have chips with my tea and realised I didn't have any. Idiot. He won't be listening to this, so I can call him a moron.
We were on such a lovely note there as well, then I had to attack you. I'm sorry about that. But I'll bring it back. This also has one of the best endings of the year, and that's all I'll say about Portrait of a Lady on Fire. That ending, man.
Good stuff.
Beautiful. It's a beautiful film. And yeah, again, why should I even bother making the Muse when this exists?
Because it's amazing. We all love the Muse.
Oh, and Robbie's frozen.
Have I? Hello? I'm back.
There you go.
Okay, start hashtagging it, guys. We all love the Muse. Get it?
I didn't hear the hashtag. You laughed and then you froze. So I didn't hear anything that you said after.
I said because it's amazing, and then when we all love the Muse, and then I'm saying get it trending. Hashtag it.
Okay. We
all love the Muse. On to my number 5. Now this one.
Right, stop you there for literally a second.
Yes.
I was talking to Joe Caslin. Big up Joe Caslin.
Big ups.
He was telling me that he was trying to boost my ego up because as everyone knows, I flattened that thing like a pancake.
Oh man, he's like got like a meat tenderizer on that thing, just smacking it up.
Yeah. No.
Consistent.
So here's Joe, who's it's the same but with his acting, where he shouldn't be.
He shouldn't be at all. He's amazing.
But he was telling me that because he tells he was when he worked at when he did something for CBBC, the director on that apparently was like, "Oh, am I the best director you've worked with, Joe?" And he went, "No." And then he went, "Well, who is then?" He went, "Well, I work this guy called Oscar W. Fitchett. He's the fucking best." So
amazing, amazing.
But in terms of the Muse, right? Apparently, he showed someone. I forgot who he said. I think she's a actress who's like in legit stuff, and she's going to be like exec producing something. And apparently, he showed You're It to her, and she was like, "That needs to get developed more because there's something there." And he also told her about the Muse, and apparently she was like, "Yeah, that should get finished. That should definitely get like done again." So Joe's getting all this professional backup for me, and I still hate it.
But you deserve it. You should know that.
I'll accept the praise, but I'll only believe it when Hutch shakes my hand.
For fuck's sake. For fuck's sake. That'll happen one day. I really hope, genuinely, I hope that happens to one of us someday, and we can, whilst the other one's in the room, so we can look to each other and be like, "Are you seeing this? Are you seeing this?" Christ, that's amazing. But big ups Joe Caslin.
Big ups Joe Caslin. You're number 5, innit?
My number 5. This one. So you put Happiest Season down as like your happy movie. Just your chill, put it on, have a good time. And I also have one here at my number 5. And that's The Gentleman.
I haven't got it in my top 10, but fuck me, that's a good one.
So The Gentleman kind of went under the radar this year. Came out not this year, 2020.
Came out January 1st, I think, in the UK.
It did, yeah.
So it was, I saw it on the day.
And it's just, so Leo made me go see this one because he's a huge Guy Ritchie fan. I'll never understand it because I'm not the biggest Guy Ritchie fan in the world. Snatch is really good. I really like Snatch. Never seen Lock, Stock, but then things like King Arthur and the Sherlock Holmes films I've never been big on.
Oh, don't you bag on Sherlock Holmes, man.
Okay. But this was a really pleasant surprise. and I didn't appreciate it the first time I saw it, I don't think. I'm pretty sure the first time I saw it, I came out of it negatively, and I don't know if it was because I was trying to spite Leo, probably. That's what I spend most of my life doing. But I remember coming out of it and being like, why was it told in a non-linear way? That was fucking pointless. Just say the story normally. I've since seen the film another 4 times. And I keep coming back to it because it's just so much fun.
I didn't know this. I didn't know how much you've been into it.
Honestly, it's so much fun. And nothing else oh, well, actually, my number 1. But nothing else, bar something else, has made me laugh as much as this film did this year. This, honestly, some of the one-liners in this are unbelievable. It's, to me, funnier than Snatch, and Leo's going to slit my throat for that because Snatch is his favourite film.
I haven't seen Snatch yet.
It's really good. I'd highly recommend it. But honestly, performances are on top notch here. I mean, Charlie Hunnam blew me away in this. He's great. I already knew Colin Farrell was great in comedic roles from watching In Bruges because he's the best and I love him.
This is almost like if his In Bruges character just got older.
Yeah, it is really. And then just randomly started a gang with chavs.
One of my favourite things is when he just backhands a bunch of chavs into chipping and tells them to respect their elders, and then tells them to fuck off. And I'm like, I can't think of anything more British than that.
One of the best parts of that is when he goes, now hit me with something else, like an insult, and he's like, make it quick, make it funny. And he just goes, fuck you. And it's just like, Christ, that's disappointing. It's like, offhandedly, it's great. There's the whole thing with the guy called Fuck.
Oh, is that? Yeah.
When he's like,
Fahawk.
His name's Fahawk, but it's spelled with a PH, so it's Fahawk. So good. Like a really genius, snappy script.
Henry Golden
keeps going at a pace. Henry Golden is really good.
He needs to do more shit like this. He needs to do more.
He really does.
Shit, because he's wasted in Last Christmas.
Stop doing your Last Christmas kind of shit. I'm really surprised he hasn't been nabbed up by something like a Marvel film or a DC film yet, to be honest.
I don't know. I think he needs something that's like, I don't know. You know, like what Stephen Young's doing.
Yeah.
Lately, he needs to do something like that. He needs to do like an indie film. That's
I agree with that, actually.
To really fucking flex his acting chops.
Yeah, because he's really good. He's great in this. The Last Christmas is a terrible film, but he's quite a good part in it.
He's charming as fuck. He
really is.
He's like the new. He's so much like a Cary Grant. He's so Cary Grant.
I do not understand that reference in the slightest, and I'm not going to pretend like I do.
Cary Grant? Cary Grant. Oh.
I don't. I'm so sorry.
Oh, we're going to have to do some Cary Grant film for the intermission at some point. He's suave and charming as a motherfucker.
Excellent stuff. We love it. Things we love to see. But yeah, Matthew McConaughey is a big standout in this one.
I'm a big McConaughey fan.
I am.
Like how some people are with Nick Cage, I'm that with McConaughey.
Yeah. And I'm surprised how well he works in this because it's a Cockney gangster film and then suddenly you just slap the most American man in the world into it. And he's asking, in the first scene, he asks for a pint and a pickled egg, which, and it shouldn't work on any level, but he's really, really good in this. And I think I appreciated the script more on repeat viewings. Definitely don't just watch this film once. I think to really appreciate the narrative and the scripts that Guy Ritchie has really cleverly written, you need to see it more than once. But honestly, just as a fun, lovely little time that I like to just put on because it makes me laugh and I enjoy it every time, Gentlemen is my number 5.
There's someone that we didn't mention that it would be fucking horrific if we didn't. Hugh Grant.
Oh my God! Right, okay. I'm going to go on a little Hugh Grant rant. A Hugh Grant.
Hugh Grant.
Nice. For a little bit. He is having the best Renaissance I have ever seen.
Just about to say that. And in the weirdest films, he comes swinging in Paddington 2.
He
and
is
he's like,
amazing in Paddington 2.
why isn't he getting Oscar nominations for that?
He's so good. Like, he is hilarious in that. A Very English Scandal, which is a series. It's on Amazon Prime, but not for free. I think you still have to pay for it.
Right.
I
Yeah.
saw it anyway when it came out, but because it's written by Russell T Davies, who I'm a huge fan of. He is amazing in that. I'm so surprised that he hasn't been talked about enough in that. He plays a politician a British politician who had an affair with another man, and then to escape that affair getting out into public knowledge because it was in the 80s and being gay was still illegal and things like that. He tried to have the guy killed, and the guy that he had the affair with is played by Ben Whishaw, and he's obviously played by Hugh Grant, and he is amazing, and it's a true story, really interesting stuff. He's doing incredible, and in this he is. I can't believe I didn't mention him because he's probably my favourite part of the whole thing.
Do you know the best way I can describe him in this?
Go on.
He's the British version of Adam Sandler from Uncut Gems.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
They're practically identical. In every fucking way.
Yeah. He's just he's such a slimy little bastard in that film, but he's so good at it. And I'm just going to put this out there for future records so that people who are listening to this in the future can go, oh my God, he did it. When I'm showrunner of Doctor Who, not if, when, Hugh Grant, be next to your phone. I will be calling you up to pursue the role of the Master. You'd be really good at it. If you're listening.
There you go.
He isn't, but if he is. There you go. He will be the Master in my Doctor Who.
Who, if we were to get any sort of celebrity figure, if we were to find out who would like the intermission, who would be the most likely? That's a very broad thing.
Oh, I don't know.
It would be someone of Safdie level. It would be one of those.
Yeah.
Or I don't know.
If an Edgar Wright would, that'd make my life. I could die a happy man if Edgar Wright listened to one episode of this podcast.
One of them.
Everyone tweet him at him. Instagram DM him. He's been hacked today. I saw that on it. Yeah, I saw it on my Instagram feed, and then I watched Simon Pegg's story explain that Edgar Wright had been hacked. He said if you're seeing any unusual posts, you'll know that they're not him because they aren't about films.
Yeah.
So he's been hacked.
Amazing.
Yeah, that would make my life. But yeah, that was my number 5. Sorry, The Gentleman. Went on a little tangent there.
My number 4, right? We're on about this. You know what? Right. We're on about films that we watch to be comfort from such a fucking mental year of 2020.
Yeah.
And even the start of 2021.
Yeah.
And this film, I can't think of any more film that is 2020 than what I'm about to say. I watched this one time, for the first time, and I liked it. Liked it quite a bit. And I thought, I'm going to watch it a second time. And then I was like, is that my number 1? It didn't get there, but it's my number 4. And it is a part of Steve McQueen's Small Axe series, and it's Lovers Rock.
Okay.
Lovers Rock is a film that I fell in love with my second time. Small Axe, I think, is a very intriguing. I love the fact that's a series. First of all, I'm a big Steve McQueen guy. I thoroughly like 12 Years a Slave. I've only seen it once, when it came on the cinema. I need to rewatch it. Shame. If I could make a film like Shame, I would die a happy man. I've
never seen Shame.
Shame is the depressing film that I want to make.
Okay.
It's that type of thing. And the filmmaking of that is impeccable. And Widows, I didn't mind. That was okay. I still need to watch Hunger, but
I really enjoyed Widows.
yeah, and Hunger. I haven't seen Hunger, but I know this, Robbie, and this will scream why Oscar would want to watch this film.
Go on.
There's a shot apparently in Hunger where it's just goes on, I think maybe for 20 minutes, but it's just a still stationary shot.
Jesus Christ.
Of Michael Fassbender acting his fucking arse off.
That's amazing.
So I'm like, well, I'm gonna,
well,
I'm gonna fucking adore that. I think it's on Netflix, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to. But Lovers Rock, the Small Axe films. Again, we went through a very heavy Black Lives Matter movement in 2020 and should carry on in 2021 and 22, and until it stops, and until this shit stops. And there's films that came out this year that I think really do speak to, like, just beautiful timing. Defy Bloods. Said, for example, The Trial of Chicago 7, which didn't make my list, but a film that isn't about Black Lives Matter, but it does deal with that very much so. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom is not a film that's about Black Lives Matter, but there's a lot of things talked about in that.
Yeah.
But I think the Small Axe films, Mangrove, which is the film that more people would be talking about because that's more heavier. That's more like Trial of Chicago 7 in the sense there's a court case and all that stuff. Yeah. There's the film Red, White and Blue, which is John Boyega's best performance he's ever fucking done.
I haven't watched that one yet.
Floored me. Absolutely floored me in that film. But Lovers Rock isn't a film that's heavy. And I think that's what took me off guard when I watched it. Because I watched Mangrove. I watched it in order. So I watched Mangrove and then Lovers Rock. And I was kind of like, oh, because I was waiting for the longest time where, like, you know, they're going to be partying and then police bust down or like a bunch of people break in and just, I was waiting for something awful to happen. Yeah. And there's inklings of the time. Like where, I forgot the actress's name, who's incredible, I want to add.
Is that who plays Martha?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, when she goes outside after her friend,
Yeah, new actress, and she's fucking brilliant. There's inklings of that, but then that's it, really. Yeah. And I appreciate, so, like, when I first watched it, I was like, there was just one moment where it's like, I think it's like 20 minutes of just dancing. Yeah. I'm sure it's just a solid 20 minutes of that type of stuff. And I was like, oh, I'm well into this. Like, I love it's still going. It's fucking still going. Yeah. And then the second time I watched it, I'm not ashamed to say, it was late at night. I had it on. And I was just on my feet dancing along with it all. Because it's so fucking infectious, and it's just, and it's I love the atmosphere of it. Yeah, like it just feels I think because the plot synopsis that Letterboxd says, it says a fictional story of young love and music at a blues party in the early 1980s, and that's exactly what it is. It's about the love of community, the love of just meeting someone for the first time and just seeing what happens. And then just the music just thumping in it. It's just like, I think Carson Runquist said it best, where he could smell the smoke in the air through the film, and he could feel the vibrations from this, like everything about this. It transports you to a time that feels ancient, but it because I put in my Letterboxd review in the sense of like, this was the best party atmosphere that I've had in over a year. Yeah. Like, it's like, and I needed reminding of that, of a time like that. I needed a reminding of a time of being with friends and just getting invited to come over. Like there's times where people would invite me to Titan, like, not for film nights, for like parties.
Yeah, just to chill and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, for like parties though, and I'm not much of a party guy, so I'm like, I don't know. So I go along, kind of not like really sure of everything, and I'm there having a pretty sound time. I'm not on the dance floor ripping it up, but you know, I'm chatting, and I'm having a much better night than I imagined, and I'm coming home at like 2 a.m. but thinking to myself, oh, that was a really nice night. And that's exactly how like this film, like it's the same type of way how Dazed and Confused ends. Like exactly the same type of vibe. Like you just go through this night and then you come back and then it's the morning, but you just got back home. Yeah. And it's just, it's something that is really special, I think. And I did say, I think this will get better with time. And I think this is going to be a Dazed Confused of a generation. Yeah.
I mean, I think I've seen this one. It's one of the set of the Small Axe ones that I've seen. I've only seen the first two. This one, I have to say, it didn't grab me the first time I saw it. Yeah. But it's one that I think it's one of the ones where that happens quite often, I found on this podcast, where the more I think about a film after seeing it, initially maybe not really liking it as much and thinking, yeah, it was all right. It's really growing on me. And it's gotten to a point now, thinking about it throughout the day, because I watched it this morning, and obviously hearing you talk about it then, I can't wait to watch it again.
Yeah.
Because there's a part of me that when I was watching it thinking like, what's the point of this?
Yeah.
Because I was watching it thinking like, oh, it's got to be going somewhere. And then by the end I realised, I felt cheated because I'd watched it and it was just kind of really, really elongated scenes of people dancing and then just like little character moments in between for about a minute and then just back to people dancing for a really long time. And it kind of disappointed me because I was expecting it to be more than that and to say more than that. I was kind of taken aback with how little it says about kind of race and the whole politics of it all. It has nothing to do with that, and I think I was taken aback by the fact that it doesn't have anything to do with that really, apart from like you said that one moment. And then the more I thought about it, I'm like, that's the point. Is that it's not about anything. It's just supposed to encapsulate one night, the feeling of that one night. And really, when I think about it, it captured a lot of the times of me growing up and going to house parties. You know, just random things where some dickhead that you didn't really like comes into the party, and then a few minutes later something bad's happening with them, and somewhere else in the party something else bad's happening and everything. And it's kind of going between it all. It really is a really nice feeling of camaraderie, community. So it's growing on me more and more, and I really can't wait to watch it again just to appreciate it.
It is an odd place to have in the Small Axe series where you start off with this 2-hour like heavy commentary on race, and then you go from that to this 1 hour and 10 minutes celebration of community.
Yeah,
and it's odd, but I think the Small Axe films really do work. It's good to almost watch them almost like continuously, and then you step back and you go, which one is staying with me?
Yeah.
And to me, it was Lovers Rock. Mm-hmm. And it is a film that I do think, like, again, I needed that. And I do think once you know what it is, like once you get it, like so many of my favorite films are like this. Once you need to watch it once to get the plot out the way with.
Yeah.
And then you watch it again to really understand what makes the film click. I'm like that with The Big Lebowski. I'm like that with Dazed Confused, mention that. Yeah. A lot of Linklater films, I think. A lot of Linklater films are like that, where like you need to watch it once to just get to just get all your expectations out the way with, and then actually watch it again. I think Lovers Rock is that. And when I say it's going to be a Dazed Confused of another generation, Dazed Confused wasn't huge when it came out, but it grew a cult thing with it. I think it's going to be the same with this, where some generations, like some teenagers are going to find this on BBC iPlayer or whatever, and they're going to be just really, they're going to love the music. They're going to be really into the 80s style or whatever. Yeah. I think especially for like the black community, like the West, I do think that's what, I mean, Steam, because I think it's all great showing black British history, of the really intense racist history that is also being involved within the British justice system. But I think it's also nice to almost have a celebration of black British culture and community, which is exactly what Lovers Rock is, I think.
Yeah. Completely, yeah.
Like Steve McQueen is just outright being like, here's us just having fun.
Yeah.
There you go. And that's my number 4. I fucking love Lovers Rock.
Yeah.
Again, almost made my number 1, and then on my second view, and then I thought, no, because I'm not, like, the other films are more like films that, it's weird to say, they're almost more films, quote.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it did feel like an episode of a series, kind of.
Yeah.
But I think the word that I would use to describe it, which you said earlier on, is infectious. It very much is. And like I said, I can't wait to watch that one again. Very excited.
It's again BBC iPlayer. It's free. It's an hour and 10. It's an hour and 10 minutes. It's just get into it.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you watch no other film from Small Axe,
watch that one.
Which I think you should watch near enough all of them, to be fair. But
yeah,
watch Lovers Rock, definitely.
I'm excited to watch the rest as well. I'm excited to properly sit down and get into them all.
Yeah.
My number 4 is The Trial of the Chicago 7.
Hey,
which I know you said it wasn't going to be on your list.
But I do like it a lot.
I loved this. Yeah. Again, going back to the first 3 on my list, took me by surprise how much I liked it. And oh my god, how like Aaron Sorkin. I called him Andy Sorkin. That was weird. The script is masterful, and you're obviously to expect it with something written by Aaron Sorkin. I don't think he's quite as strong as a director as I'd like him to be.
I feel the same. I do feel the same with that. Yeah.
But I think the script that he made, and the actors who bring amazing performances to this, make it, to quote Mank, director proof completely. Like I think anyone could have taken the helm of this and it would have been at least good, because the script is that perfect. Everything is spot on. It's such an underdog story.
Yeah.
From these guys, like everybody is amazing. Eddie Redmayne, who I'm not usually a massive fan of, incredible in this.
That's exactly my thing. I'm not a fan. In this, well into him.
He's amazing. He's so good. There's the Sacha Baron Cohen, obviously.
The standout.
Is definitely, yeah. I would definitely say the standout. His friend in this, who I can't remember the actor's name, but he's also in The Big Short. He's really good in this. He was one that stood out to me, but them two as a duo are perfect. But I think my favourite performance in the whole thing is Mark Rylance.
I was just about to say Mark Rylance. He's so good.
Oh my god. I love him in this. Literally, I was so on board with his character, because I can't speak obviously for the actual guy that he's supposed to be portraying, because this was a true story. But he just seems like the nicest bloke in this. Yeah. Trying to defend the leader of the Black Panthers in court, not to stand to be his lawyer, because all the stuff that happening there is really powerful, in terms of the court never stopping to acknowledge the fact that he hasn't got anyone representing him. He's just there. Yeah. And whenever he tries to speak for himself, he's not allowed. The judge is such a bastard.
Frank Langella, man.
He's such a dick in this.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, I think his performance is... I think it'll be really underrated in terms of this, terms of people talking about this, because I don't think this film would work nearly as much as it does if you didn't fucking despise him.
Yeah, no, exactly the same. Exactly. There's films that almost bring me on the brink of tears from just how fucking angry I am.
Yeah.
At everything that's going on. This was that. Fruitvale Station's a big example of that for me.
Oh
I
my
bawled
God,
crying with that film.
Yeah.
Just how fucking angry I am with that. But 13th, the documentary that Ava DuVernay did, that's another film that almost brought me on the brink of tears for how pissed off I was. Trial of Chicago 7's the same thing. Man,
it's just like this underdog story of these guys, and it's a lot of the reveals throughout which are just perfectly placed in the script to make the pacing of this, it flies by.
Yeah, man. It's a bit over 2 hours, isn't it?
I think about 2 hours 20.
About
I think
like 210, 220, roughly about there.
But it moves at a click, man. It is so well paced. Every little reveal, and even ones that come out that are in like that paint our protagonists in a bad light, you are gutted when they happen. Like every single one of them, you are so invested. And this is a story that I knew nothing about.
Same.
And it's an amazing story and something that's completely deserved a film to be made about it. I'm gonna get his name wrong. Yahya Abdul-Mateen II? Is that his name?
Maybe, I don't know.
He was recently he was in Watchmen. I'm not going to say who he played because it's a spoiler.
Okay.
But he was amazing in that, and he's just as good here. I can't wait to see him in Candyman, who he is the lead in. He doesn't get a lot to do. Yahya Abdul-Mateen II. Really good here. Really excited to see him in a starring role because he doesn't get a lot to do. Like I say, he's not particularly in this a lot. He's in it just enough. Yeah. I feel
because the film's not about the Black Panthers. It's about Chicago 7, but they were intertwined in that.
Yeah, like the Aaron Sorkin does it really cleverly, where it touches on race relations. They're one little kind of through line throughout the film, but he knows that the focus of this story isn't on that; it's on these other people, and so he really gets a balance right with it. And just a masterful script, which I'd love to read.
I'm a big I said like I put in my letterbox review. It's like a courtroom film written by Aaron Sorkin. Of course, I was gonna love this.
Yeah.
It's a recipe for success, and also in terms of it's not on my top 10, but I did really fucking like this. I'd say top 20 in my. For 2020 for me, but I got especially within this summer, I got very into the looking into the 70s, 60s hippie counterculture movement. I got very interested in all that side of things and looking deeper into that. I listened to a lot of psychedelic rock and stuff, and I mean you can hear when we talked about Apocalypse Now, because that was the summer when we talked that, and how into that side of things I was. So that was interesting seeing more about that side of things, which I didn't know about this. Yeah. And I forgot the Abby, I forgot the guy that Sacha Baron Cohen played. Yeah. But fascinating guy.
Really is, because you do kind of, for a point of it, Eddie Redmayne's character has kind of a grudge against him, saying that he doesn't believe in what he's fighting for. He's just doing it for whatever reason, because for a completely other reason, be it fame or recognition or whatever. And you kind of agree with him for a bit, for quite some time in this film. And I think Sacha Baron Cohen's performance leads you to believe that, and then all of a sudden, when it switches and you realise why he does actually do it and that his heart is completely in it, it's really kind of powerful and makes him a really, really interesting guy to watch.
Sacha Baron Cohen is such a good, I mean, this came out the same time as Borat's subsequent movie film, which... Two films which I think delivering two very powerful political messages in two very different ways. Yeah. And he gave him... I mean, we know how great he is as Borat anyway, but him as... in this film is just it gives more legitimacy to him. It gives more people. I mean, I think I knew he was quite good dramatic, but I think he needs more drama roles. I think
he does, because even when he shows up in big kind of awards films, he's always kind of the comedic relief character anyway. Like,
Yeah.
when he was in Les Mis, Hugo, yeah. Like, things like that, I think he does need a chance to flex his acting muscles a bit, because he is incredible in this. Genuinely.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if there was Oscar noms, to be honest.
There's heavy likelihood that they're pushing for him for Best Supporting Actor.
Good. Really good, because he completely deserves that. He is amazing in this. It's one that... When did it come out? Because it was...
September, I think. It was around about that time, I think. October, maybe.
It's been out a while, but I don't remember anyone really talking about it when it did come out.
Yeah.
Which disappoints me. So if you haven't seen Trial of the Chicago 7, definitely go see it. It's on Netflix.
Someone that I want to shout out in this film. Mm-hmm. My boy Joseph Gordon-Levitt's back in films.
Yeah.
Big fan of the guy. Massive fan. You know what? I'll say it. He may not be the best actor, but he's my favorite actor right now.
Oh.
Like, in the sense of, like, I mean, you know, there's Joaquin Phoenix, there's Leonardo DiCaprio, there's all these powerhouse actors. But you know what? I can't, you know what? Joseph Gordon-Levitt is the actor that I connect to with the most in every single performance he's in. And I fucking love him in everything he's done. So, and I'm glad he's back making films. And he's took time off making films for a sensible reason. He was like, I've just become a dad, so I want to spend time being a dad and not work for a while.
Good on him.
So he did that, and then he's back. He's got 3 films out.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't watch Project Power because I just heard it was meh.
Yeah, I've heard it's not great.
But I want to watch. He did a film called 7500, which is on Prime, and he plays a pilot. He plays a pilot, and the film takes place. It's like Locke, but in a cockpit.
Okay.
Lockpit.
Nice.
Damn it!
God damn it.
But I need to watch that. But
yeah, for this to be one of the ones that he comes back with is great, because like everyone else, he is great in this.
And it's also like he's not like the lead. He's there, but
which surprised me. It took me off guard, because at first when he's first introduced, I was like, oh, so this is his film. He's the protagonist of this. And I thought it was going to be him kind of rebelling against the system that he's been brought up in. It isn't that at all. But he's still...
His character has a great arc, though.
Yeah, it does. And I think it's an unexpected role for him. For me, anyway. I thought it was quite unexpected to see him in that role. But he is, amazing in this. Really amazing film.
And there's also that one actor who took me well off guard that was in it. I'm not going to say him because it was a surprise to me.
Yeah, I'm not going to ruin that for anyone because I had no idea he was in this.
He came in and I went, what the fuck?
I haven't been that surprised to see him since. I'm not gonna say it, but you know what I'm talking about.
Indeed. Right. Top 3 now.
Top 3. Holy shit.
My number 3, Robbie.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Yeah, I would say my top 3. I'll give these 5 stars. Like, I would say these are 5-star films for me. My number 3 is Bong Joon-ho's Parasite.
Cool.
In every single way, this is the best film that came out in the UK in 2020, I think. Mm-hmm. I mean, we briefly talked about the fact they just built a set. They built 2 houses. Just did it.
It's insane.
And they, I mean, I watched it 2 times in the cinema.
Mm-hmm.
First, I mean, I'll get to my first time seeing this. Second time I saw it in the View in Hartlepool. Mm-hmm. The fact that it was just playing in the View
is insane on its own.
Which was the last film that I saw before lockdown, like in the cinema. And then I saw other films in the cinema which were kind of depressing. But anyway.
Mine was Birds of Prey. What a way to go out.
It was almost that. But I watched Parasite like the week later. And I was like, I fucking...
Thank God.
Got in there quick there. Then I watched it for a 3rd time on Prime. Because I just saw, I was like recently. I was like, you know what? I need let me rewatch this to see like where it would be on my list. Mm-hmm. And I can't say any negative about it. I think that's where it comes into it. There's no negativity I can say about Parasite. It's it might be the best edited film of 2020.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah,
purely for that TV scene.
Oh my god!
Just purely for that scene alone. The sound design is impeccable as well. Yeah. Even from when the kid's just running down the stairs to just heads cracking off walls. It's just
and the twists and turns that it takes, unbelievable.
The acting, I think's far overlooked. I don't think enough people are talking about the acting. I mean, they make it. Yeah. Every single fucking one of them. I mean, Song Kang-ho, who is like the Robert De Niro of South Korean cinema. He's incredible. He's also in Memories of Murder. Fucking watch Memories of Murder, everyone. It's better than Parasite, I think.
I will. I promise. I promise I'll watch it.
But yeah, I mean, the mother of the Park family, I think they are.
That's who I was going to say. She's great.
Again, the humor in this film, it's funny as fuck.
It is genuinely. I was surprised at how genuinely hilarious it is.
Yeah, it's
like I inhaled some popcorn, but it's genuinely. It's funny. I think, without being a horror film, it's one of the most frightening films I saw last year.
I remember when you messaged the group saying, "I'm watching Parasite. Is this is this meant to be funny?" And I went like, "Yes." And then you went, "What is?" I was like, "Yes, it's every genre."
And you were right. Little did I know, you were completely telling the truth.
And then
that was a funny night.
And because then you went, "I'm watching this with my parents," and I went like, "Uh-oh."
Yeah, that's a terrible idea, you idiot.
I went, "Uh-oh." And you went, "What? Why?" I went, "No, not saying now."
You just let it happen. I couldn't believe it. When things started happening, I was just sat there with my parents. My mum was shitting her pants. Honestly, it was one of the funniest experiences I've ever had watching a film with my family.
And here's the thing I want to say, because this is what we're referring to. Maybe the funniest sex scene I've ever seen in my entire fucking life. God. Purely not because for the actual sexual acts happening, because I think the actual like sex scene, the actual sex happening, is actually quite an interesting commentary in this sense, in terms of how they are acting and what they are saying in that moment. But it's just the moment where it cuts to Song Kang-ho under the table, just with his hand over his face, just like, oh, fuck's sake.
It was the worst experience in the world.
And then when he's crawling out, and then he just has to stop. It's tense and funny.
It genuinely
really is. Yeah.
It was, I think, the most horrible experience watching a scene in a film since I watched The Wolf of Wall Street with my parents.
Oh, why would you do that? Why would you?
I don't know. Because I'm an idiot, Oscar, all right? I do these things because I'm a moron. But it genuinely, and I think it speaks volumes to the fact that my mum and dad, who aren't film people at all, loved this.
Yeah.
My dad was talking about this for weeks after it had come out.
And I mean, the score, I love the score as well. I just had that on Spotify at one point. It's just really fucking good. Screenplay, it's so inventive, I think. But here's my experience with the film. First time viewing. I wanted to share this story with this. Went to, it was the last time I went to Tyneside as well. Was this film, and this was February 8th, the day before the Oscars. Man, this was the first time Parasite has been shown in the UK, right?
Okay.
And at this point, it's been in America. It's been getting months of hype since it won the Palme d'Or in May of 2019. If you're a film person, you've just been so much hype about Parasite throughout the entire fucking thing. Gets to February 8th. UK film fans have been waiting for this thing. I walk into Tyneside Cinema in the classic screening, so this big, luscious, like prestigious looking cinema.
Yeah.
Packed. It was full.
Oh shit, really?
And And it was the equivalent that I can say. The exact feeling and vibe was when I went to the midnight screening of Force Awakens.
Wow.
And instead of Star Wars fans, it was just full of fucking cinephiles. It was just full of it was packed to the brim of just film fans who were waiting to see Parasite, and we're there watching it, and it's just it's already got an atmosphere and like a mode of excitement of like, holy shit, this is a fucking event. Like, we're all finally watching Parasite, and then we're just hearing like laughs, gasps, holy shits. There was generally someone I'm sure I heard someone go fuck at like at one point. It's like, and then like it ends, and then everyone just lets out a like, it was like a big collective sigh, like a and then like
Jesus.
Yeah. And like Gary, who's never seen a Korean film at this point either, who's never really been into foreign films.
Yeah.
He tagged along because we had a double bill in Newcastle. We watched this and another film in Tyneside, and this was the last one of the day that we saw.
Right, okay.
So I was like, I'm not sure how Gary's going to react to this because he's not necessarily into foreign films. Like, he doesn't, like, for a period of time, he just refused to watch them. Like, he was like that with them.
Yeah.
And then we're walking out of Parasite, and I'm still trying to think about it. And I'm like, well, yeah, it was fucking mint, of course. Like, that was almost my thought, where it's like, well, no shit. Like, I've been hearing all this thing, and it kind of met my expectations almost. I thought someone was behind me there. I shit myself. That was
just Bong. Hi, mate.
And then like we walked out, and then Gary went, "Fuck, that was mint."
Yeah.
And then he just got in on. And then he became obsessed with Koreans. He became obsessed with Parasite. And my thought was like, I wasn't one of these people because I thought myself, is this getting a bit overrated? But I thought, you know what? No, it's fucking. Because I think like it is almost like beginner entry level to Korean cinema is Parasite. It's because a lot of people watch this film and they almost are like, that was so different and mental and oh my god, I can't believe it. But I'm like, I agree, but other South Korean films do it more more insane.
Yeah.
Especially the films by Park Chan-wook. Old Boy, The Handmaiden, fucking just mind-blowing shit there. And even Bong Joon-ho's other films like Memories of Murder and Mother are films that are like just like all these twists and turns. This film starts off as one genre, then kind of becomes another genre, and then just kind of like it's its own thing by the end of it, and it's such a unique experience to that own thing. So I was already aware of that feeling anyway of Korean cinema. So seeing Parasite to me was like, yeah, it's just a really good one of that. Whereas like I think a lot of people were so blown away by it because this was almost their introduction to that feeling, which is where my love for it more comes into it, in the sense like I'm also, even though that did have that effect on me, but I already had that with like Old Boy. Like I already had that years ago when I first watched Old Boy, and I was like, holy shit, this is one of the best things I've ever seen. Where that's someone else's thing with Parasite. And the only reason why this isn't number one is because my 1 and 2 are films that are ingrained in my own soul and my own like perspective on anything. Like I didn't click on a personal level with Parasite, but with my 1 and 2, I clicked with them. Which when I start saying them, I don't know what that's going to say about me. I'm just going to put it out there. I don't know what that's
very intrigued.
I don't know what it's going to say about me, but that's why Parasite is an incredibly made film that just doesn't get me on a personal note.
Yeah.
Whereas my other 2 films, I think, are incredibly made films and crafted pieces of cinematic storytelling that do just sync with me on a personal mental level. So there you go. That's my number 3, Parasite. It's no more can be said about it.
No, if you haven't seen it, find it, watch it.
This is the film, by the way, that I was on about, where I was saying I would say this is probably, like, out of everything that's come out within the last this has probably already cemented itself as an iconic film.
Yeah. Oh,
Like
I
it's-
would completely agree with you.
Like everyone's already doing the. It became like a thing to. I can't do it. I can't remember the theme where Jessica, Illinois, Chicago. Like
Yeah.
people
Yeah,
did
yeah.
that. People got really into Ramadan. Is it Ramadan? I can't remember the fucking steak ramen noodle thing.
Oh,
that
yeah,
they
yeah.
made. People got really into that dish
Yeah.
and other things like that. Just was said it like in this film. It became a fucking like in joke where if you drew a thing at the black, like painted something at the black color, you clearly have something loopy with, or like you got some sort of darker meaning, have you? Which do you remember where we
Yeah.
were setting up for the Muse, Jack Colley, cinematographer, getting a painting doing. Probably, I don't even think he knew what Parasite was, so he didn't even know what it is. And there's Jack with black paint, just painting black in a corner, and I'm seeing this happen, and I go like,
Right, wait, hang on, what?
I think at this point only
Jack?
Aoife had seen it out of everyone. It was only me and Aoife, and I went like, Aoife, Jack isn't even seen Parasite, and look what he's done. And then she's looked and she went, oh.
Oh dear.
which kind of explains
Jack-
a lot about Jack. in
Jack
all
happens to
honesty.
be a maniac. It does explain a lot about Jack, to be honest. We love you, mate, but get some help. Yeah. He'll hurt me for that.
he
When I
won't
next see him.
listen to this, Robbie.
He's probably gonna hurt me anyway, because I think I've got an Instagram message from him from about 3 weeks ago that I just never replied to, and I don't know why. 2 weeks ago, sorry, just checked.
That reminds me,
Mm.
I need to reply to a Tinder message as well, so that we're not going to.
Also from Jack.
It was an amazing look at the drawer. I didn't realise Jack was in the female section of Tinder, but there he is.
Incredible. Is he becoming another myth and legend like Julia and Leo and Gary have become on this podcast?
Purely through this one podcast as well. This is the only time
Oh my
we've
God.
talked about him. And
Yeah.
anyone who doesn't know him, are like, wait, who is this Jack?
Who is this crazy man?
Thing is, though, I try to get him on and we're rolling, and he goes like, "Nah, well, we'll see." So he's avoiding telling unloading his mind publicly.
Yeah.
He does it in the comforts of a uni classroom,
And what does that tell you?
and then that's it. Anyway,
Dodgy guy.
what's your number 3, Robbie?
My number 3 Oscar is a film that I have a very, very special story about. It is
Cool.
The Personal History of David Copperfield.
I didn't get a chance to see this, so I'll give the reins to you with this one.
This film is genuinely amazing. Now, I have a sweet spot for it because I have a bit of behind the scenes story for this one.
Ooh.
Hang on. I've got like a popcorn kernel stuck in my throat and it is hurting so much every time I speak. Hang on. Gone? Yes? No. No. Ah.
Do you want to get a drink?
I'm gonna have to go and get a drink.
I'll cut, and then
Okay. I'll be back. Like the shit Terminator. Okay, I've had a drink. I'm ready. I'm good. I'm not choking.
You just slowly. I can't imagine anything like. I'm talking, and it's progressively just getting more painful. Can't imagine a
It
worse
genuinely
thing. Can't imagine a worse thing to do while filming a podcast.
On a podcast. It was just getting worse and worse as I was going.
You left it at like, I have a personal thing about this film, some behind the scenes thing, and then you just kind of went, I've got it, popcorn girdle in my throat.
That was horrendous. Genuinely, I've never known pain. So I'll carry on. Right. As I was saying, before I rudely interrupted myself, my number three film of 2020 was The Personal History of David Copperfield, which I have a behind-the-scenes personal story with. I snuck onto the set of this film. This film segments of this film were filmed in Hull, which is where I am from. And myself and Charlie Gittins, my friend Charlie from college, may be listening to this. I don't know. If you are, hi Charlie. I'm talking to him at the minute, so we're talking about WandaVision. But we decided to go down to the set and see if we could get in. We got to the car park of my dad's work because because my dad's work was the building that they were keeping all of their things in.
Oh, right.
To all like props and set pieces and things like that. And we managed to get into the car park where all the lorries were, with holding all the massive lights, and everything like that. And it was genuinely, we managed to sneak into just outside the set, like where they were filming, and it was genuinely magical being there. Because I having wanted to be a filmmaker for so many years. I'd made films before, I'd done short films, and I'd all that kind of stuff, written scripts. But to see what a big budget movie set looks like when you're just there next to it, it was amazing. And instantly, I was unbelievably excited for this film, which I already was because Peter Capaldi was in it, who I'm a massive fan of. Which I'll get onto that because that's another personal story, which is from this film. Dev Patel I'm a huge fan of, who's the lead in this, Hugh Laurie, and it was directed by Armando Iannucci, who I love, like with all my heart. I've loved pretty much everything he's ever done. The Thick of It is one of my favorite series of all time. In the Loop is an amazing film, which is kind of in the similar vein to The Thick of It. He was one of the co-creators of Alan Partridge, which is again one of my favorite things ever.
Did he do Death of Stalin?
He did do Death of Stalin.
Right,
yeah. Just I'm an unbelievably huge fan of his work, so I was instantly excited for this. And I didn't know anything about the David Copperfield story. I've never read the original book or anything like that. The Peter Capaldi side of this personal story for me, he was on set filming in Hull. At the time was the Doctor. He was the 12th Doctor on Doctor Who at the time. My favourite show ever. I have a strangely encyclopedic knowledge of it. Ask me any question.
I thought you were going to say I have a strange relationship with that show, which you do.
I do have it's an abusive relationship.
It's a very, if anything, it's quite a I forgot the name of it. It's a one-sided romance. I forgot the exact name of it.
It really is. It's
unacquainted love.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's abusive in the sense that I continue to love it and it continues to hurt me. So, anything on Doctor Who anyone asks me, I'll probably know the answer. I'll beat Robbie Southern in a quiz there, I said it.
I put my money on you.
Thanks, mate. But I heard wind that Peter Capaldi was on set from my dad because he worked next door to where it was being filmed, as well as Hugh Laurie and Dev Patel. But Peter Capaldi was on the set, right? And so that's the reason me and Charlie went down, was to see if we could try and meet Peter Capaldi. We didn't. We just had this magical experience seeing a big budget film set. And then the next day, I was sat at home doing some college coursework for my film studies, and all of a sudden my phone starts ringing, and I looked at my phone. I was like, "Oh, who's this?" And it was my mum. I answered the phone, and I went, "All right, mum." And then just a gravelly Scottish man said, "It's not your mum, right?" And I was like...
So first of all, you're terrified that someone's just taking your family hostage.
I was like, so she's been kidnapped, is what you... like, what is this? And he says, "This isn't your mum. This is Peter Capaldi." And I was like, "What?" And he was like, "I'm just speaking to your mum now, and she's given me her phone to ring you because she said that you were a big fan and a big film person." And I was like, "Oh my God, well, it's great to meet you," sort of thing. And he was like, "This is the genuine conversation we had." He said, "What are you doing?" Right? And I said, "Just doing some film coursework." And he went, "Oh, anything I can help with?" And I was like, probably not. You're on the other side of the hole, Pete. And he went, all right. And that was pretty much it. And then he moved on to just go, I've met your parents. They're lovely. And I was like, oh, thank you. And then that was the end of the conversation. I was like, oh, holy shit. I've had a phone call with Peter Capaldi. They had his autograph, which they got and brought home for me, which I have here on this shitty scrap of paper.
Yeah.
That says, to Robbie, all the best, Peter Capaldi. And then he'd sign a little bit underneath that says Doctor and then 3 question marks as Doctor Who, which is great. The next day, I was in Hull anyway, doing some things, and I thought, you know what, I might as well go see what scene they're filming for David Copperfield. Where I ran into Peter Capaldi. I said, oh, hello. And he went,
all right, mate, you go here, mate.
Because we're best friends now.
Of course.
And he was like, oh, hello. I was like, oh, we've met already. And he was like, oh, have we? Did you come down to the set before? And I went, oh, no. We spoke on the phone yesterday. You rang me off my mum's phone. And he goes, oh, yeah, the little woman with the brown hair. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's my mum. And he was like, you were doing some film coursework, weren't you? I was like, yeah. Like, he remembered me. And I was like, oh, my God.
Yeah.
My father remembered me. And he was like, how did it go? And I was like, oh, it could be anything, to be honest.
I haven't got the mark yet.
And and we took a selfie, which is on my Instagram and will be for the rest of the time. And that was it. And that was my meeting with Peter Capaldi. So I was unbelievably excited for this film, which could cloud my judgment slightly. Who knows? But I watched it, and it's just like so different from anything that I would imagine Armando Iannucci would do. It's nothing like The Thick of It, or Alan Partridge, or Death of Stalin even, which deals with kind of more delicate subject matter than the other two did. But I mean, it's a comedy. Death of Stalin is still a comedy. This is a comedy, but it's more than that. When you see a film and someone says, what is it about? And you kind of have to go like, well, it's about a guy's life entirely. Okay. That's this film.
Right.
You follow David Copperfield, who's this guy it's sort of implied that he has some kind of mental difficulty. But it's sort of like an autism sort of thing in terms of his mind's really hyperactive. And he's an unbelievably creative guy. It was written by Charles Dickens, the original story.
Okay.
As kind of being a surrogate for himself.
Right, yeah.
And you just kind of follow this guy through his life. And he has this ability to, whenever he meets someone of really strong, interesting character, he can perfectly replicate that character into his writing and how his characters talk and all that kind of thing.
Okay.
And so it's just following this guy through his life as you meet interesting character after interesting character with an amazing cast. Like Hugh Laurie's probably the standout for me, who plays a character called Mr. Dick, who is amazing. He's this guy who believes that when, I think it's King Charles... When King Charles was decapitated, he believes that when that happened, all of the thoughts from King Charles's head went into his head, and he has all the thoughts of King Charles, and he writes them down on little scraps of paper and just sticks them around his room.
It's amazing.
It's so good. And then David comes in and helps him by sticking all those bits of paper to kites and letting them fly away, and it's kind of therapeutic for him. But yeah, you get Peter Capaldi, who's amazing in the film. Tilda Swinton.
She's in this, is she?
Oh yeah.
She's one of my faves.
She's Hugh Laurie's sister in this, who is David Copperfield's auntie. And just everything about it. Ben Wishaw's great in it. It's an completely star-studded cast who are all on top form. To tell a story that's really interesting about the kind of creative process and about creative people, which really kind of connected with me on a lot of different levels. The character of David Copperfield really did connect with me. And yeah, I was just a really big fan of it. It's really nice, wholesome, and moving a lot of the time, about this kind of struggling artist who comes from a really poor background. and him trying to make it by just telling stories that he's come across in his life, and it's really, really lovely. You know, would highly recommend it because I think it's a film that will definitely go underrated.
I'll definitely have to give that a go.
Yeah,
Definitely.
check it out because I feel like you'd be really into it.
I've always wanted to give that director's stuff a go.
Yeah.
I remember seeing bits of Death of Stalin, and I was like, that seems like my type of shit.
It's hilarious.
I remember because In Bruges is one of my favorite things ever. So I'm not expecting it to be like that, but
yeah.
I like that.
Have you seen
stuff.
any of the thick of it?
No, the only things I've seen of a thick of it, clips of it and stuff. And I do want to see it. And I think it's from In the Loop, because there's a compilation that I watch every now and then called The 100 Best Movie Insults. And there's just one bit where Peter Capaldi he's in America, so I assume this is In the Loop.
Yeah, I think that's In the Loop, yeah.
And he's just like kind of just like ranting on the phone, and just some American just goes, "Hey, buddy, these are all the curse words." And he goes like, "Kiss my sweaty balls, you fat fuck." And then he just fucking walks away. I'm like, it's fucking incredible. I love it.
It's so good, honestly. All of the thick of it's on Netflix now.
I think there's also a bit in that as well. That's also including that video where he goes, it's like, where he calls a guy a cunt, and then he goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, I know you don't appreciate curse words, so let me say, you're such an F star cunt." And then I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be into this then, aren't I?
Yeah,
my shit.
It's great. I don't know where David Copperfield is currently available.
It's on Prime, I think. I've noticed it on Prime.
Oh, okay. Well, then, yeah. Definitely watch it if you get the chance. I love it, and I think more people should talk about it. It's great. Yeah. So that's my number 3.
My number 2 was my number 1 for the longest time of the year. Right, until I rewatched my new number 1, and then that just switched.
Yeah.
And my number 2 is a film that I saw the same day as Parasite. So what a fucking wonderful day that was for me.
Oh, lovely. Yeah.
Another A24 film. So gotta push it out there. Mention this guy slightly as well, the director of this. I'm not gonna be around the bush anymore. And again, I want to preface, I don't know what this says about me as a person when I say my two favorite films feel like they link onto me mentally and just personally resonating. More so for 2020, for the year 2020.
Yeah.
My number 2 is Robert Eggers' The Lighthouse.
Oh my God.
It's a film that I was anticipating anyway as soon as I saw a bit of the trailer, and I just hear Willem Dafoe going, "Why just spill your beans?" And it just loops. I'm like, what is this film going to be? Holy shit. Well, I need this. I need this film. And then I'm also, I love The Witch. The Witch.
I still haven't seen The Witch.
Slow.
I really need to.
Slow, but it's, God, it's like, that was almost the film that started A24 in my head as a company to be like, fucking that film. Like that, because I know other films, I saw A24 films before that, but they weren't registering to me that they were. It got to the point where every time I would notice the logo pop up, and I'd be like, I noticed that logo always shows up in films I'm huge fans of. And like, I remember watching Enemy with the A24 logo popping up, Lock, the A24 logo, Under the Skin, A24. So I'm like, and then it got to a point where, and then like I think Room as well with the A24 logo.
Yeah.
And then it got to a point where I saw The Witch logo, like trailer. Will and I did a reaction to the trailer actually, and you can see me. And you can see me being like, I've realized I'm starting to like. You can see the dawn of my realization on that video of like, oh, maybe A24 is a fucking company that I'm into, and I think A24 are doing the best horror of the past decade. Horror that I like. Horror that's my type of shit. Yeah, I like Blumhouse horror. I mean, that's what you know. I love a good bit of Blumhouse horror. They can be quite shit at times though as well. Like dire.
Oh yeah.
but I love a good Blumhouse horror. I'm a big fan of New Line Cinema with their horror stuff like The Conjuring and It and stuff like that. But A24, they're my type of horror, which some people might go like, what do you mean? It's not even scary. I'm like, that's what I fucking like about it. I like it.
That's
like,
the point. Yeah.
It's atmospheric and crawls under your skin. And I don't think any other... And I think The Lighthouse is almost a perfect example of that. And... God, where do I start with The Lighthouse? I've never publicly spoken about this. I haven't like properly talked about this because Gary wasn't fussed on it. So I haven't really had an in-depth conversation about him with it.
Yeah.
And Lewis liked it a lot, but I haven't really had that much of an in-depth conversation about with him. And the closest thing I've had to an in-depth conversation about The Lighthouse was when we were in Morrison's that time and you were getting some food and I just briefly mentioned it. And we just started talking a bit about it. And then I held off on it because I'm like, I know I'm going to mention it for this video, so I kind of want to hold off on that. This is Robert Pattinson's best performance. This is also Willem Dafoe's best performance, I think.
Yeah.
And Willem Dafoe's one top 5 favorite actors. He's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I don't know where to necessarily begin with this film. This film starts as like a sense of like I get so attached to it from the filmmaker point of view. And this is the film that I'm on about where 1917 and The Lighthouse are the two best made films from a film craft's point of view. Purely because, right, aside from the film, the cinematography, which it's that and Portrait of a Lady on Fire are tied for best cinematography of the year. Every fucking visual in that film is stunning to me. The costumes... great. Robbie, I don't know if you know this. They built a fucking lighthouse. This wasn't This wasn't a lighthouse they found. They built a fucking lighthouse.
I genuinely had no idea about that. That's mental.
Yeah. I'm like, they found an island.
Yeah.
And they just built a lighthouse.
That's ridiculous. I genuinely had no idea about that. I just imagined they had a lighthouse that they filmed in. Maybe some of the interior shots might have been built sets filmed elsewhere, but
that was my thought. And then I looked up behind the scenes and I see them with fucking like cranes just assembling this thing, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like,
that's horrifying on its own. Just the prospect of doing that.
So it's almost like The Revenant in the sense of these guys were in the fucking trenches making this film. Yeah. It wasn't a pleasant place to be, but the film isn't a pleasant film. And
no, it really isn't.
And it's God, and it's like I saw an amazing review on Letterboxd. It was either on Letterboxd or Reddit that commented about this, and they said Portrait of a Lady on Fire is what would happen when two women are stuck on an island where they grow to love each other and they talk about art and culture and they embrace each other. The Lighthouse is what happens when you put two blokes on an island together. And I'm like, yeah.
Completely.
Yeah.
If us two were stuck on an island together, I imagine one of us would shag a mermaid. You know? No, but that is completely accurate in terms of like two men stuck on an island would just go mental. Like that, that is what would happen.
Yeah, and it's like, it's frustrated sexuality as well. It's like a thing where it's like they start dancing because they're just pissed. And then they go to kiss. And then they push each other off. And then they get in a fist fight. And it's like, yeah, of course. Of course that happened. I think I fell in love with it because of how raw this is. And you hear me say that a lot with certain films. But I think that's what I love about film. I love when films write, for me, it's the unpredictable, just visceral nature of it. And that's what this film is, where like it just feels alive. And Lovers Rock is like that in a optimistic, positive sense, where it just feels raw and alive with the dancing and just the community, and like when that dude just starts flailing himself in that film. Whereas like Lighthouse, there's moments where they just scream into the sky, and it's like people can look at that and go, but what's happening? but it's like get fucking emotion.
Yeah.
Like just pure like absolute like animalistic like passion is what's taken over there. Like from the actor's point of view. But I'll admit when I first watched this, I was like, I don't quite understand what I got, but I knew I just had an absolutely powerful experience. And that's where A24 shines the most for me. When I leave a film kind of just stunned.
Yeah.
And just kind of like, fuck, what did I just witness? But I feel like I just watched an absolutely impactful thing in my life.
I completely had that reaction. The first time I saw this was like, this is gonna sound so stupid. The first time I watched this, I'd bought it on DVD. Yeah, that's right, Oscar. DVD.
Wasn't gonna say anything.
Me and Julia watched it together as a date night.
Oh, what a look! Right, you don't watch you don't watch Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind for a date film, but you thought, you know what? Stick The Lighthouse on.
Yeah, it was, because we're a romantic couple, and
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it would be a film that I would stick it on.
Yeah, it was great.
There's been times when I was like, we're staying inside, let's have a little date night, what should we do? And I go like, well, there's this A24 film that you haven't seen that I think is going to be really cool if we watch it. Stick it on. My girlfriend's like just kind of confused. And I'm like...
Like, Julia had already seen it.
Right.
She saw it in cinemas when she was at uni. And there was a point in it when her flatmate, shout out to Ollie Bruce, shouted out loud in the cinema, "Oh, fuck me," really loud. And she did it when we were watching it, and it was, I'm pretty sure you'll know exactly the point that I'm talking about, but
which bit? Okay.
Yeah. And she did it when it happened, and it was genuinely like, it was horrifying and creepy. And like you said, it got under your skin, and the entire time you just kind of like tensed up like this. But it was so much fun. Like, it is a fun, horrible movie to watch.
It's the arcs, the character developments through these films is impeccable. Like,
unbelievable.
Who these two men are at the start of the film and who they become at the end of the film are two different. You're looking at a cracked reflection of the person they were by the end of it all, and
particularly in Patterson's case.
It's like, and again, this film, I think I for my first Letterboxd review with it, I said, I went in expecting to think about beans, but then I left thinking about lobster.
Yeah.
That's another thing. I don't get how I think I quoted this film more than any other film from 2020 in the sense, like, I'm next to Gary and I'm just going like, we do it together. The pair of us do it together. Like, every now and then Gary just goes, "You're fond of me lobster, ain't you?" And I just go, and then I just end up going like, "You goddamn farts, you fucking farts." just like.
But it's so funny.
That's what I mean. It's the moment where he's just like, with the lobster scene I'm on about, where Willem Dafoe's horrified that Robert Pattinson goes like, "You're cooking shit," and he goes like, "But you're fond of me lobster, ain't you?" And then he goes, "Fuck off," and he goes like, "I know you're fond of me lobster, I've seen it." Like, he's like in denial that someone could be so like not liking of his fucking lobster that he's probably taken so much time and care to probably like, "Oh, my signature dish," and then he dishes it out, and it's like,
oh Christ.
Like, it's funny, it really is. And again, like, what I don't know what it is, Robbie. I'm realizing this. I'm becoming a big fan of farting films.
Yeah. Swiss Army Man.
Swiss Army. It's A24 and farts are like maybe the best combination of it. An A24 film where two blokes are out from civilization, go through some sort of philosophical, existential journey, and one of them farts loads, are genuinely two of my favourite films.
What a niche genre.
And I've just described... Yeah, Yeah, and I don't know what it is. Like, there's things that... The reason, like, obviously from a filmmaking point of view, I find this quite inspirational in the sense, like, I would kill to make a film like this.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, I watch this film and I think to myself, I live in a coastal town. I can do something of ilk, similar thing like this. And I also think to myself, like, I've started jotting down ideas for a stage play inspired by this film. Because I think this film could really work as a stage play.
Oh, definitely.
And I think something similar could really be fascinating. But aside from creative influences, again, I don't know what this says about me. I feel very mirrored to Robert Pattinson in this film. There's something I don't know what that says about me, or if you've learned something new about me from that, Robbie, or if I've just said that
I've learned nothing new about you from that.
I was going to say, oh, if I've just said that and you go like, that all makes sense now. Like, I don't know what that says.
It's like, what you can't see over to this side of my room is that I have a chalkboard where I have plotted out the mind of Oscar Fisher. And that was the last string I needed.
Like, I don't know. I don't know if I should just leave it at that and then maybe go into another video at some point.
Yeah.
Detailing that, because I think I need to... I know that's how I feel. I know when I watch The Lighthouse, I feel myself in Winslow. I think that's who he is. I feel myself in Winslow. I don't know why, though. I don't know if I need to psychoanalyze myself further in order to do that.
Yeah.
Which would be something entirely. But yeah, and the second time I watched this, which is the best way to watch it, I want to add, I stuck this on, turned the lights off. I stuck this on generally at midnight.
Oh.
And I just fucking just watched it in the pitch black dark at midnight.
Christ.
So I'm like, in a similar way, how Lovers Rock kind of took over my body of just making me want to dance. Lighthouse in that situation took over my body in the sense of I'm just going all like, I'm like in a floaty daze.
Yeah.
Of just like going through this fucking weird path mentally. And I'm exploring something in my mind that I don't know what it is, but I mean, it's definitely unlocking some doors, which I didn't realize I had established.
No, it's like when I first watched Mandy.
Fuck, I need to rewatch that film. That's another film.
I watched that about 1 a.m. in the dark.
Oh, that's a film that's
It
also
was so
perfect
weird.
for that. Yeah, but yeah, I think. But aside from the very personal connection to Lighthouse that I have, which again terrifies me to say that I have a personal connection to Lighthouse, I think this is just purely one of the best made films I've seen. And out of what I call the A24 3, being the Safdie brothers, Ari Aster, who did Hereditary and Midsommar, and Robert Eggers. Robert Eggers is my favourite.
Yeah.
And he's doing another film. He's doing another film called, I think The Northman. I think it's just finished wrapping. It's I think it's A24 as well. It's a Viking film, Robbie.
That's interesting.
Hang on, I'm going to read the cast out to you, Robbie.
Go on.
Because this, you know what? This is my most anticipated film for whenever it's coming out.
Are we going to get to watch me get progressively more excited? If you watch it on YouTube.
It's got Alexander Skarsgård.
Nice.
Anya Taylor-Joy, returning from The Witch.
Yeah.
Nicole Kidman.
Interesting.
Who she's come out and say, like, The Northman is one of the most viscerally intense productions she's ever been involved in, and The Northman will fuck people up, apparently. Which,
excellent.
Yes,
cool.
Please. Ethan Hawke is in this. Willem Dafoe. And Bjork.
That's a weird. That's a weird one to end on.
The plot being set in Iceland at the turn of the 10th century, a Nordic prince sets out on a mission of revenge after his father is murdered, based on the Danish folktale of Prince Amleth.
That sounds so cool.
And the fact that this dude did this dude did a folktale, a film based on a folktale, a folklore thing of the lighthouse, because he went through like an actual lighthouse journal from like this time period of basically similar thing.
Yeah.
2 blokes losing their fucking mind. the amount of research this man goes into, that excites me for the
Oh,
Northman.
completely.
Again, people are like, oh, the Batman. I'm like that. But, you know, some people
Yeah.
are like, I'm still excited for the Batman, but people are like all this stuff about like whatever Marvel film's coming out next that people are excited for. Well into this, well into that. I'm like, fucking give me the Northman. Give me the Northman. But
time.
yeah, and I also love the fact how Robert Eggers is literally just a chill bloke. I think I remember telling you, like, when in the Safdie Brothers acceptance speech, and then there's Robert Eggers, I went, that's the dude who did The Lighthouse and The Witch.
I couldn't believe how young he is.
And he just looks like a trendy, chill dude.
Yeah.
You would think he's like this old English cynical bloke who just,
completely.
But no, he's just like he looks like someone we would know at uni.
Yeah.
Like if he just walked into uni, it would be like, yeah,
an
art student.
Yeah.
An art student. No, he's making these really mental, like Scandinavian-esque existential horror fests.
They're so good.
And I'm want
really
more.
excited for that. Really excited.
I want more from him. Yeah, he's excited. He's an exciting person.
Yeah,
he's very. His films are very old school, but they're so fresh. I think that's the best way. The Lighthouse is so like Scandinavian revival era, like Ingmar Bergman, Carl Theodor Dreyer stuff. But it feels new. It's weird. It's this weird mix of everything.
I think. I'll just as a final point on The Lighthouse from me, Warner Brothers, stop! Don't be cowards. Just make Willem Dafoe Pattinson's Joker. If I don't get to see Willem Dafoe play the Joker in a film at some point in my life, I will die an unhappy man. Thank you. That is all.
And that's made for The Lighthouse anyway, because otherwise I'll be going too far into it. So
cool. No problem.
Get into your number. Duh.
Okay. So this one is the one that I wanted to go into in terms of personally for me, which is Soul, which we talked about before. Now this, I've spoken to you about why I like the film generally when we were talking about when you brought it up. It's incredible. The storytelling is, mwah. I love the animation. I love how it looks. All of it works together so well. But hang on, I've just realised that my door's open. I've done this again. I'm so sorry.
Can't believe you've done this. Didn't hear that.
But we're getting into personal times on the podcast, so I'm closing the door.
Here we go.
So, 2021, as it's beginning, is looking as if it's going to be kind of a year of discovery for me in terms of myself and my brain and how my brain works.
Before you get further into that, you're turning 20 this year, aren't you, Robbie?
I am turning 20 this year. Yeah.
That was around about the age that I was when I was going through all that shit. So
yeah,
and this makes sense.
This film, because I don't think I've spoken about this very publicly on here before. I struggle in terms of mental health quite a lot. Have done for a few years now. And I'm just starting to kind of get to through things that have happened in personal life, which I won't go into, starting to get to grips with how it works, how my brain works, how it functions, what's actually going on up there. And this film was such perfect timing for me, because I have kind of made it sort of a resolution for me for this coming year to try to live in the moment a lot more. Don't think about things that happen in the future. Don't think about the past. Appreciate where you are. Appreciate what's happening right in front of you. And that's what this film's all about to me. And it really struck me for that. And kind of, I took it in and it really hit me personally. One of those times when the film's like just exactly what you need to hear at exactly the right moment. And so when I was saying before about kind of weird companion pieces that don't really make much sense, in my head they do. In terms of films that are about if you want to change your entire worldview in terms of living in the moment, 3 films, watch them in a weekend. Soul, About Time, and It's a Wonderful Life.
Mm-hmm.
I watched About Time. We did It's a Wonderful Life for the podcast, and then Soul came out. Seeing them in quick succession really was kind of like that's what I need to do sort of thing. And I've started to get help now, which is great. And they're telling me live in the moment more, ground yourself sort of thing. And that's really a resolution for me this year. So I think for it to come out, particularly on Christmas Day as well, which is kind of when the year's wrapping up, it was the perfect kind of booster of just go off and do what you need to do in 2021. And it kind of made me excited for the year ahead. I don't think it's a perfect film. Like, not by a long stretch. I mean, I think the subplot with the villain is useless. Feels like a studio note that I've said. It kind of feels like a studio note to me of like, there isn't an antagonist and there needs to be, all people aren't going to be interested in. So they've gone, shit, okay, well, I guess this New Zealand lady.
I like it's not like, it isn't a villain though. So
yeah, no.
At least,
yeah. It's just kind of a subplot going on. There's a point, obviously no spoilers, but there's a point in the film where they take a storytelling direction. I couldn't help but be disappointed when I first saw what they were doing, but then I realised the meaning behind it and why they were going down that road for the second half of this film.
As in, like, the cat is
it's the cat.
Yeah.
I couldn't help but be disappointed straight away, but then when I realised the reason they were doing that, genius.
That was my reaction as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Just as soon as they started, when I realised what it was going for in terms of doing that, amazing. And yeah, just really, really moving. I've found a few people say that they don't really like it so much.
Yeah, I know Lewis's girlfriend Victoria. She says she wasn't too fussed with it.
Yeah,
like she didn't mind it, but
same with my sister. She was kind of like, I just kind of wanted it to be a bit more, which I can understand. But no, in terms of the film that I needed at that specific moment, it just had everything, as well as being amazingly written. Jamie Foxx is so good.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah.
Really, really good.
I think one of my favorite Pixar characters.
Yeah.
Genuinely,
completely.
I think, honestly, one of like maybe my favorite. And that's a big thing to say because I mean, there's Woody.
Exactly. Sully is a big one for me. I really like Sully. But he's amazing, and again, like you said, someone that I really kind of connected with in terms of there's this one thing that you feel like it's your entire life's purpose is to do that thing. And if I don't have that, then what do I have? That's a big thing that racks up in my brain all the time. Yeah. You know, exactly the same as you. And this film handles it so well. So yeah, that's my number 2 is Soul. Perfect for me in this specific moment, and genuinely made me excited going into the new year to see what it would hold for me after a shite year that was 2020. Going into 2021, genuinely got me excited by giving this new lease on life, by seeing just on the off chance of seeing 3 films that happen to have the exact same message in a row.
Yeah. No, that's very interesting. I'm going to comment on that, of what you're saying there. Hearing what you're saying there, because that's been my mantra for the past 5 years now.
Yeah.
Of living the moment. And it's very interesting because I know we always joke in the sense of like, oh, it's like I'm seeing a past version of me, Robbie.
Yeah.
But that was exactly the point with me at the start of 2015 when I was going to be turning 21. That's why I went through a load of crazy ass things in my head. You can watch my video of Amber Rowland episode. I want to say 3.
I think. Yeah, it's 3.
Yeah, 3. Of when I revisit my video on loneliness, and that's when I say that, like, I realize I start feeling those emotions in 2015, which was a transitional period from being 19 to 20, and I was going through all sorts of thoughts in my head
Yeah.
of just mental stuff. And like I didn't have like there was one film that did kind of like click with me in a similar way that like Soul clicked with me. And it's my favorite animated film of all time. It's Anomalisa, which like it's similar situation where it was a combination of that and talking to more of my mate at that time, as well as watching Louis. Believe it or not, Louis was actually quite a big like life reaffirming questioning of like, so what is it that I want to do, like for life? And it's interesting hearing that type of thing. And it's like I do think like it is really a thing where like it's moments like this, like these moments that do fucking remind you how important film is to people.
Yeah.
It really fucking is. Like again, I look back and I go, I remember the first time seeing Anomalisa and just having that, just everything feeling like it's just, I have like this realization wash over me. And I'm like, shit, yeah. And then it's like, Anomalisa a lot more cynical than Soul, but there's similar types of like clicks and stuff. And then I remember getting to 2016 being like, this is the fucking year. No, I was like that with 2015. I remember the first week of January 2015. I remember going for a walk on New Year's Day and just having this freshness feeling of like, right, it's fucking time. Fucking gonna do it. This is gonna try for the year. And it's very interesting to see that that's where you are at now.
Yeah.
With it. And it's scary how much we don't mirror each other's lives perfectly.
No, but some things weirdly line up.
It's really weird parallel fucking like some sort of like there's some sort of philosopher that has this theory. I don't know what it is, but it's some sort of fucking weird like mirror stage like type of shit there. But that's like, again, films, man, they're fucking powerful. And they really they may not be perfect in terms of filmmaking things, but sometimes you just need it. You need that one moment just to click with you in that moment.
It's exactly that. And the one of the other two that I would highly recommend is About Time. Watch it.
I need to watch that. I haven't seen that yet.
If you haven't seen it, I'm sure it's still on Netflix. I'm pretty sure it's still on Netflix.
I think so, yeah.
It's fucking incredible. It brought me to tears big time.
That's a film I know, though. That's a film that'll fucking destroy me. Because I'm a big fan of films like that where like I don't know, where take the manic pixie dream girl trope and just kind of like really flesh that out.
Yeah.
Like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind or like Ruby Sparks.
Yeah.
Like things like that. But like romance films that throw an almost sci-fi fantasy twist into it, but also have it really grounded in reality. I know I'm going to fucking be into it. It's just like, I might have to watch that like sometime next week, actually. I need a film like that.
Yeah, it's amazing, genuinely.
Yeah. Before I get on to my number one, I want to throw a few honorable mentions out. I like to do this.
Cool. Yeah.
Don't know if you have any to throw out there as well.
I can think of some.
I'm going to skip the ones that we already talked about because I was going to say Invisible Man, but we already discussed that. Same with Bad Education, already discussed that. And Charlie Chicago 7. Right, here's a few honorable mentions. Let me just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, okay. One of them I'd say is the last film I saw in the cinema, Saint Maud, an A24 horror film, which, again, similar thing to Lighthouse. It just kind of like, I was just kind of in this like, what the fuck through the whole thing. And then it ended. I was like, fuck, that was pretty neat. Not as personally profound as The Lighthouse or Midsummer, because both of those films are quite personally profound in my own life. But Saint Maud, it's a film that has an unknown performance, an unknown actress in it who gave a fucking film stealing thing. A very interesting commentary on religion and faith. Right. And it was filmed not far from around here. I think it was filmed like near Whitby or something. Oh, really? So it's quite a local film. Oh, wow. And I think Mark Comer named it like his number 2 or number 3 of the year as well. So fucking solid film. Highly recommend that. Another honorable mention is a film called Swallow, I saw this on Now TV, and the best way I'm going to describe it, I'm just going to read the letterbox description of it, because otherwise I'm going to get too unneedlessly elaborate with it. Hunter, a newly pregnant housewife, finds herself increasingly compelled to consume dangerous objects. As her husband and his family tighten their control over her life, she must confront the dark secret behind her new obsession. It all starts where she just picks up this marble and she just swallows it. And then she just gets obsessed with just finding something. And it's like, what the fuck? But you watch it and it gets like more like real with why she's doing this.
That sounds horrifying.
And it's more of a thriller than a horror, but you could argue that's a horror. Beautiful cinematography. It's like the colors in this are very giallo almost.
Oh, okay.
And the actress who's the lead in, I forgot her name, Haley Bennett. Brilliant. She has this like very light naivety, purity about her.
Yeah.
And but no, I highly recommend Swallow to give that a go. I already said Red, White and Blue for small acts, so watch that. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom is another honorable mention, I do have to say.
Yeah.
Chadwick's best role. I would kind of want him to win best lead, if I'm being honest with you. The only reason why it's not too high in my list is because, I don't know, I'm not like, it's really just, it's incredible. I think it shines really strong because it's of where it's just actors just acting.
Yeah.
As opposed to the plot going on. But like, it's basically like you're just waiting for the monologues for Chadwick to give, for Viola to give. It's a drama student's dream. This is all is this film.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
And I can imagine a lot of people trying to be Chadwick Boseman in this film and just kind of failing because you can't you can't compete with that.
He is incredible in this.
Like Ma Rainey's Black Bottom is Chadwick Boseman in that film is Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight, which is even more tragic in the sense like we could have had a superstar, mega superstar. But I'll save that for my last honorable mention. My other honorable mention is Jojo Rabbit. Almost made my top 10. Didn't quite. I love the style of it. I love how it's just kind of very Wes Anderson-y. And man, when it hit me emotionally, it fucking struck me emotionally. I almost cried like a baby. I'm not going to spoil it, but there's one review that Lewis sent me from Letterboxd that said that Tarantino only wishes he can make people this emotional about fate.
Oh my god! Oh Christ!
And it really did affect me in the sense of like I was just like straight. I went from being like, this is funny and like charming to like, man, fuck war. Which yeah. And the last honorable mention I want to throw out there is a film called My Brother Jordan, which I watched yesterday. It's a documentary on YouTube. You can watch it. It's an hour and 4 minutes. It's by a guy called Justin Robinson, who is a filmmaker I've only recently just discovered. He did a short film called Guest of Honor, which is an incredibly powerful Holocaust short film. And he's kind of looped himself. He's kind of associated with the Film Riot guys. This is how I discovered him.
Okay. Yeah.
And because the Film Riot guys, I think Ryan Connolly, he's executive produced A Guest of Honor, and he did this film called My Brother Jordan, where it's a documentary about his brother Jordan, who died of cancer he was 21, and he died in 2008. And Justin Robinson, he made this documentary from 2012 until 2019, I think. Right. So it's this big, extensive, it's almost like a Dear Zachary in the sense of like, it's like, I think he starts off the documentary saying this film is for a brother, by a brother. And there's another fucking thing that really hit, because there's loads of people that get interviewed who are just Jordan's friends.
Yeah.
And there's so many people. And it's like, there's one person who says, he's someone you don't have to lie how good he was. Which I'm like,
God, that's devastating.
Which I'm like, wow.
Christ.
Like, it's one of these things where it's like, again, it's a story about like this relationship that this guy Justin had with his brother. And there's a certain line he says in the film where he said that someone apparently went to him about like, he asked Justin, like, how have you dealt with the loss of a loved one? Because this person asked this of who dealt with a loss recently in his life. And Justin apparently answered I think I'm paraphrasing, but he said something along the lines of like, you just bleed out for the rest of your life.
Right.
And he's like, it's cynical and it's dark, but that's just how it is. And he said such a beautiful line where he said, because everything he touches, he just leaves blood stains of everywhere. Everything he touches, his brother Jordan is now just stained on that thing, which is quite even more powerful watching some of his short films that he's made in that sense. I was like, oh, it kind of makes sense now. And and again, he's like 30.
Yeah.
So he's young, and and again, recommend it. The full thing's on YouTube and his Vimeo as well.
That
so I would highly
beautiful.
recommend give that a watch.
Yeah.
And that's my honorable mentions. Do you have any honorable mentions before we head into number ones?
Some of these are going to sound a bit daft, but genuinely, Sonic the Hedgehog, I would like to give a shout out to.
Fuck's sake, Lewis jokingly went to me. It's like, I hope Sonic the Hedgehog's on there. Well, Robbie's seen it, so he might mention it.
Lewis, I've given it an honourable mention. It's actually good. That's genuinely why. The only reason why I would mention it is because
I didn't see it, so I can't say.
It gave me hope that video game movies can be good. It was actually an enjoyable time. It had like a nice little story for kids, I guess. Jim Carrey is on fine form. He is excellent in that. And it made me excited for the Mortal Kombat movie coming out this year. So that's cool.
Did you see Tomb Raider?
I didn't. Oh, yes, I did.
I like that.
I didn't mind.
That.
I didn't mind Tomb Raider. It was okay. It was okay. The other honourable mention I have, I've only got two because the other ones you've kind of summed up there. I would like to give an honourable mention, no matter how bad I think the movie is. Tenet, I would like to just mention for a second, because I have not thought about a single film that's come out in the last year more than that.
I'm telling you now, everyone, this is the only fucking thing he's talked about.
I can't get out of my head. I've seen it 5 times now, right? Because people keep fucking coming at me and saying, you just didn't get it. I've seen it 5 times now. I get it. It's just not good. It just doesn't make sense, alright? I'm sick of it, mate.
I've generally told him that he should consider doing his dissertation on Tenet.
I actually might. Genuinely. How authorship gets so high up in someone's minds that they think anything that they make is good.
You can analyze it in comparison, because the Royal Ocean Film Society, he did a video on Nolan, and he compared him to David Lean. How David Lean just went mental at one point with grandeur. He did like a massive war epic that was apparently just really boring, but it was an amazing technical feat. But he just kept. So you could genuinely.
I probably could.
You've fucking seen it 5 times, Robbie.
It's not. I think I kept watching it because when people were saying you just didn't get it, I'm like, maybe, you know what? Maybe I am missing something. I'll watch it again. And I've done that 3 times since it's come out of cinemas. I saw it twice in cinemas. I saw it once with Elmeister General, and I saw it once with Julia and her family. And then I've seen it 3 times after that.
Oh, Leo. Right.
Yeah, sorry. Elmaster General is Leo. Also, L Dog if you want. It's up to you. L to
Call
the H
Leo.
Loey is one because someone in his drama class in high school wrote him a Christmas card and spelt his name wrong.
Okay.
It's Leo, and they spelt it wrong. They spelled it Loe. But yeah, I can't get this film out of my head. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day about it, who keeps saying that it's good, and I questioned them and said, why the fuck would he try and shoot himself in the head at that point when he was fighting himself inverted? And they've always got an answer for it. This guy said, oh, he wasn't trying to shoot himself. He was trying to empty the bullets out of the gun so that when he came back inverted and the other version of himself tried to get the gun, there'd be no bullets in it. Fuck off.
Is it bad that I forgot Robert Pattinson was in it? I just remembered Robert Pattinson was in Tenet.
Yeah, playing River Song. That's a reference from my Doctor Who fans out there. Because Christopher Nolan ripped off Doctor Who. I'd like to make that very clear. The idea of people becoming firm friends but meeting in the wrong order, that is Doctor Who.
I like the idea, but I wanted a more interesting film. Thank you.
Yeah. Terrible movie. Anyway, on to your number one.
my number one. Where do I begin with this film? I'm not sure if you have any idea what this could even be. Okay. I haven't really talked about this with anyone because no fucker's seen it. I think Scott and Adam have seen it.
I know what this is going to be because I think I watched it earlier today.
Adam said he wasn't fussed. Scott liked it, so I've talked to him about it. Mm-hmm. And again, as I said, Lighthouse for a while was my number one.
Yeah.
And it almost was my number one. And then I rewatched this film on the 1st of January. This is how I started 2021.
Yeah.
To rewatch it because I just felt, well, this is probably a film that I need. Again.
Yeah.
And my favorite film of the year that I think just is exactly what I needed, sums me up in terms of everything that I can think of. It's Charlie Kaufman's I'm Thinking of Ending Things.
I knew it.
And and if you've seen our episode with on And We're Rolling, we talk about writing influences. We say about that. I list Charlie Kaufman as my writing influence, especially recent. Like within the past year, I've really grown to be such a big Charlie Kaufman fan. I love Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. That's a film that sums me up at one point in my life.
Yeah.
Anomalisa talked about it just earlier. It's my favorite animated film, and that sums me up at some point else in my life as well. Mm-hmm. And being John Malkovich sums me up at a point in my life that hasn't happened yet. And I know that. And adaptation, that sums me up whenever I try to write a script. Mm-hmm. So, and I'm Thinking of Ending Things. I think I watched this when it came out. And I think it was like a week before we were starting uni again. Because I remember I didn't watch it yet. I didn't watch it during uni. And I just remember thinking to myself that, like, you know what? This is exactly what I needed at this time. And some people go like, I need comfort. This was my comfort in a weird way. In a really weird way. Again, as I said, I don't know what this says about me when I say that my 1 and 2 feel so ingrained into me personally. And again, that's what I always try to do. I try to like make my favorite films of the year almost like films that just speak to me on such a personal level from that year that really sum me up in that year. Like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I'm not going to get into it now, but that sums me up in 2019. Like just outright does. And Whiplash sums me up from that year when I did watch it, and etc., etc., etc. And this did the exact same thing. And of course I was excited for this because it's a new Charlie Kaufman film. I didn't know what to expect. And I watched it, and it was one of these things where I didn't quite... And again, this is a total Oscar W. I knew it was made for me when there's just scenes where they're just in the car.
Yeah.
And they're just chatting. But they're chatting in really, like, weird, like, philosophical, what's the meaning of this? How does this equal this? What's the significance of this in our lives? Blah, blah, blah. again, if you've read The Muse or seen any version of The Muse, you fucking know that that's just me in terms of writing. And to which I explained to Joe, it's painful to me to watch The Muse in front of people that weren't in on it, because everything that's been said in The Muse is so personally from my own mind that I almost feel like if people are judging this, they're judging everything that's going on in my head, which is a vulnerable thing us writers do for that thing. It's a very unconsequential thing in the grand scheme of life. You know, I'm not coming out. That's not what I'm doing. I'm not that. It's not on that form of bravery. But and I think that's why I click with Charlie Kaufman so much, because when you see him in interviews and stuff, he's just so like shy, timid. He's like not shy and timid, but he's so much so like, I mean, if this doesn't do well, then I'm just done in film. Like, I think he said, like, he's because Synecdoche, New York, he did in 2008, which is a film that it was his directorial debut, and he wrote the script and flopped hard.
Yeah.
And even critics were split on it. And he said that took a big hit on him, because he was like, well, what's the point of even making any films then? Yeah. And again, almost kind of like me this year in 2020. What's the point of doing films if this one thing isn't if this is the best, if this is me putting all my effort into this film and that's getting shat on, what's the fucking point of continuing on? Yeah. Anyway, that's talking about Charlie Kaufman as a person anyway. So I'm excited. I'm always excited what he does. And I was intrigued because this wasn't an original story. This was based off a book. So this isn't coming from Charlie Kaufman's head. Yeah. So I was curious how it would work. And I didn't know, was this going to be a horror film? Was this going to be a thriller? And yes and no. Yeah. Yes and no. And yeah, there's moments where they're in the car and they're just talking. Jesse Buckley and Jesse Plemons. Brilliant, by the way. I fucking love
Jesse Buckley is big time on my radar now. Because
Wild Rose?
Wild Rose was probably my favourite film of the year before last. It was up there, definitely. I loved that film. And she was amazing in it. And from what I've seen, I still haven't seen all of this film yet. I turned it off, in fact. I will explain this. I today was trying to catch up on films that I hadn't seen. And I put this on and got about halfway through and thought, I'm going to turn this off because it's really interesting, but it's not very me. And I know that if I watched it to put it into my top 10 for this year, I'd be lying to myself.
Yeah. Which point did you get to?
They literally just got to the house and they were walking around and they'd gone into the farm to see the sheep.
Okay.
I got to that point.
I'll not mention anything past that point as well, because it goes further in terms of like everything that like I've been thinking about in 2020. Yeah. Like everything that's explored and I'm thinking of ending things is like fucking like there in my head. And I say this is a good companion piece with Midsummer in the sense of it's two people who probably shouldn't be in a relationship but still trying to be in a relationship. Yeah. And almost the psychology of that. And that's how I read it the first time around when I first watched it. Second time around, I'm not going to say specifics because that's spoilery, but I had a whole different outtake on it and it all made sense again. I had a new sense about it while still reaffirming everything that I thought about the first time around. And there's things like, I don't know, it's like, to me, it encapsulates how I feel during university. It encapsulates how I feel like after like the nights of university, like after hard days of uni. That's what this is to me. Yeah. That's just how not necessarily how I think, although that's also in there as well, but there's a lot of things in this film that like that are said conversation wise and I'm like, how did they know that I thought that? How did
looking
that
around
happen?
like, am I bugged?
But this has also got some really funny moments in it as well, which I'm not going to go too much into because again, it's more spoilery stuff if I do go into the funnier aspects of this. But tragically funny, like a lot of Charlie Kaufman's stuff is, and it saddens me that he's always on the brink of just like, well, I'm not making any money from this, so I'm just going to stop making films. It always saddens me with that because he is the most interesting creative mind that I've like seen. Again, no one else is making films like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, or Being John Malkovich, or Anomalisa, or this.
I love Being John Malkovich.
It's like
an incredible film.
And the best way I'm going to describe Charlie Kaufman's films entirely, he's got 6 major films. 3 of them which he didn't direct, 3 of them which he did direct. The 3 that he didn't direct, I compare them as to dreams that I've had in terms of the feeling that I get. Like after you've watched them, you're like, oh, that was very surreal, but kind of like weirdly specific in my entire thought process.
Yeah.
Like Being John Malkovich, Adaptation, Eternal Sunshine. They're almost dreamlike, even though they're kind of a bit like, they're kind of like, exactly. Whereas the 3 films he directed are nightmarish, in a sense. Synecdoche, New York is terrifying. It's nearly 2 hours of a film of like, life is fucking meaningless and what's the point? And that's that whole film. Anomalisa, similar type of thing. Again, I'm not going to get into it because I think you would really like that film, especially with it being stop motion.
I think I analysed a scene from it for my photography A level, I believe.
Oh, really?
But I've never seen the full thing, which I really do need to.
And I'm thinking of Ending Things as a similar thing to that. Similar to Synecdoche, New York, in a sense of like, life is meaningless, but it also has a thing of like, it almost has the message is more so, life is confusing. That's what I'm thinking of Ending Things is. And if any year of my life has been confusing, it's been 2020. And if I've needed any film to kind of like reassure me of my confusion, so I'm thinking of Ending Things. Again, I'm not going to get too much into it because you haven't seen it, Robbie.
Yeah.
And I don't want to like take that away from you. But it knows when to be subtle in the best ways. And then it's really theatrical in some places as well. Like, again, I haven't seen a fucking thing like this in recent years. Yeah. It's so unique. It's, the colours. Again, colour theory. It does good shit in there. It plays with your mind in terms of continuity. There's a lot of that. And this is the film. I mean, there's a lot of like fun little, there's criticisms on, there's little, not criticisms, commentaries throughout the entire, there's commentaries on why you talk to someone. There's commentaries on why am I in a relationship with this person. There's commentaries on what is my relationship with my parents really like. There's commentaries on opinions on entertainment.
Right.
There's a straight up section where Jessie Buckley just flat out starts quoting a Pauline Kael review for A Woman Under the Influence. And it's fascinating.
Yeah.
It really is. There's a contemporary theatrical moment in it, and it just ends in a way of like, this demands you stay through the entire credits, and I'll say that. More so for you. There's kind of an after credits scene, but not really, but it's more so you just need to sit with the film through the whole credits. And I'm thinking of Ending Things as my favourite film of 2020 because of course it is.
Yeah. I was going to say, from watching the first, it would have been about 35 minutes that I watched. It was probably one of the most Oscar W featured films I have ever seen in my life. Just every conversation that was happening, I was going, I don't know where it'll be on the list, but this will definitely be on Oscar's list because
it's
like every conversation I was like, Oscar is going to love this.
Yeah. It's a film that if I presented that script to a lecturer, be like, take that tell out, take that tell out, take that tell out.
Yeah.
But it's like, but that's the fucking point. It's just people. I mean, there's a reason why I think there's so much tell in the film, but again, that's spoilering. Can't get into it. But this is a film that kind of got me into literature. I'm going to be honest. Like, I haven't been much of a book person.
Yeah.
I ordered the book of this film. I still need to finish it. But it's a smaller book, so I thought, I can tackle this, start reading it. I'm like in on it. So this film's kind of got me into looking more into reading and literature, which I think's grown me mentally in a sense. Like, it really, no, I heard all the time, like, fuck off, where people are like, no, reading helps with your intelligence. No, it really does, guys. If you're a denier of reading, fucking read something, and then you're in there.
Yeah.
Because again, I haven't been much of a reader, but probably what I suggest is if you really like a film that's an adaptation of a book, read the book, and then go from there. So yeah, that's another thing you have to just.
And
really
don't do a me and order countless graphic novels and pretend you're doing the same thing. It's not the same.
Oh no, yeah, no. I went through reading plenty of manga, and I'm like, I'm tricking myself.
I've got Mac Fraction's Hawkeye: My Life as a Weapon on the way currently. Going, can't wait for that. That'll be a good read. And I'm thinking to myself, it probably will be good, and I'll probably really enjoy it. But I should read more books.
I've been ordering books. I'm like, I should start reading books instead of buying books.
Yeah.
So, like last week I bought Bruce Lee's it's called Be Water, My Friend, which is the book that his daughter wrote about his teachings that came out last year. So I need to read that, but I also need to finish this French New Wave book I've started. Nice. I need to finish I'm Thinking of Ending Things. I need to finish I need to finish Sidney Lumet's book. I got so much shit I need to read, Robbie.
I need to get some recommendations from Julia, because she's massive on reading. She has got a ridiculous amount of books. She's got this collection of them in her room, and she said that she found 6 during lockdown that she'd never read. So now she's reading them. And one of them is the sequel to a book that she read years ago, and she can't remember what happened in the first one. So she's reading that again as well now. It's like, fucking hell. Yeah. But
right, Robbie, your numero uno. I think I know what it is. I think I know.
Okay. It's been mentioned before in this podcast. My number one film of the year is one, again, like you said, in terms of I'm thinking of ending things, summing up your stance in terms of how you like films to be and your films that speak like you. My number one film of last year is Jojo Rabbit.
Yep.
I love it so much.
This skimmed in just for us. This came out January 1st, 2020 in the UK.
And, I saw it 3 times in cinemas. I can't tell you how many times I've seen it since then. It's just amazing. It's like everything in terms of the films I want to make and the stories I want to tell and the way I want to tell them.
Oh, yeah.
It's this. It's this movie.
Yeah, no, you're right there in the sense of if I'm Thinking of Ending Things is if The Lighthouse is to me what Soul is to you.
Yeah.
Then I'm thinking of Ending Things is to me what Jojo Rabbit is to you. It just makes so much sense. It
completely
does.
I think it's just Taika Waititi is a director who it's firmly established now, I will watch anything that man does. Literally anything. I will watch behind the scenes videos of movies that he's done. He came onto my radar first, hearing the buzz around the fact that he was going to be directing Thor Ragnarok. And I'd never heard of him, so I was like, that's really weird. Why is everyone so buzzing about it? So I had a look at what he'd done before.
Do you know what we do in the shadows?
Yes. I didn't know about it. I had no idea about it, but until I started researching him after that announcement, because I realised people were excited. So I went back, I watched What We Do in the Shadows, loved it. It's
so good.
It's hilarious.
It's one of my favourite comedies.
Yeah, and Hunt for the Wilder People I watched. Amazing. I love that film. Sam Neill's great in that. But I think it was his connection with another great love of mine, Flight of the Conchords, which it's probably my favorite comedy thing ever.
I haven't seen it, but again, this makes so much more sense as well.
Yeah. It is.
You're learning. I want to preface. You're learning a lot about us. If anything, through Intermission. This is such a That's your favorite comedy series. Mine's Louis. So much matches in so many ways.
Telling.
it's just...
But just Taika Waititi is. I know that I've said in the past of people like Steven Spielberg being huge influences on me in terms of how he captures an audience, and Sam Raimi, and in terms of his filmmaking techniques, and Edgar Wright in his scripting and all that kind of stuff. Taika Waititi as a director, like in that role as a director, is, from what I've seen from behind the scenes and all that kind of thing, is exactly the kind of director I aspire to be in every way. I want making movies to be so much fun all the time for everyone there. And from this film, you can tell everyone was having fun making it, and just the genius of being like, I'm gonna make a film set during World War II about a Hitler Youth person, and their imaginary friend is Hitler. And I'm gonna play Hitler.
And I'm also Jewish.
Amazing. Just chef's kiss. Like, as a concept on its own, that would be so funny, and I can't believe that it was ever actually made. I know that he was trying to get it made for years. I'm pretty sure it was the boost of doing a big Marvel film and having the recognition from that got him to be able to make it.
That's definitely what it was.
Yeah, and I'm so glad that he did, because honestly, I know it speaks to me on some personal levels in terms of Jojo and his relationship with his friend. I connected with that a lot in terms of these two like best mates and stuff, and the way that they talk to each other. But,
it is you and Leo, like, though, isn't it?
I was trying to beat around the bush with it. Yeah, it is. And I just, but apart from that, not a lot of this film is exactly personal to me in terms of the story that it tells or anything like that. But I just came out of it, and I love the feeling when you go into a film and you finish it and you come out and you go, God, I want to make movies like that. I think the last time I properly felt that was first time I saw Baby Driver, I imagine.
Yeah.
Just
I get that, yeah.
Going, that is exactly what I want to do and why I want to make movies. And yeah, just everything about it. It's hilarious. When it gets sad, it gets real sad. First time Julia has seen me cry was watching that film. When she went,
sure, it's not the last.
Almost certainly not. I am a tear machine.
I've never seen you cry. Have you not? No, I haven't.
Oh my God, right. Okay. Well, I cry at films all the time, so we'll just have to watch one together more often.
Well, we watched It's a Wonderful Life, and the situation that wasn't really...
It's just us crowded around a laptop in a
fucking sound booth. It wasn't really like...
in the equivalent of a shed.
It was like...
It really was. But yeah, Jojo Rabbit was beautiful, heartwarming, hilarious, devastating. Everything that I have ever wanted a film to be. And really kind of, from looking into the behind the scenes, watching that footage, it's really given me a thing to strive for in terms of me working and trying to be a better director than I am, which would be not very good currently, but trying to get better,
You're a student, you have an excuse, it's fine.
Yeah, I know, but yeah, getting better is what it's all about,
Yeah.
Exactly.
Go and watch Bear Hug to see Robbie's
if you want to watch Bear Hug, you will have to privately message me for a link because it's no longer on YouTube.
Oh, really? Have you taken it off?
Reasons we will discuss after this podcast.
Okay, I will do.
So I need to stop plugging it. Bear Hug doesn't exist. Stop asking me about it.
Forget it. What's your it? The proof
What's
of
your
concept
it
short
instead?
film.
It's great. I'm in it.
Yeah, you can see Robbie in it.
Yeah.
You can see the thing that caused me to go through an existential spiral at one point.
Yeah.
You can see what caused that.
You can see me and 2 actual actors.
2 actors who are training
Yeah.
in the craft. But that's I was going to
it.
say something. I can't remember what I was going to say. That's going to be frustrating. Either way, what I'm probably going to have to do with this podcast, Robbie, I'm going to have to make this a 2-parter. So
Yeah, top 10 till 5, 5 till 1.
Yeah. I didn't expect us to go over 4 fucking hours.
How long has it been recording for on the sound? Oh my god, it's 4 hours and a minute. That's insane. I am so sorry.
Oh no, we were both doing it. We both went. I thought it was going to be quite skimming through. I talked about 1917. I talked about A Son, Happiest Season, Uncut Gems. Like, we're going through this. I'm talking about. Then I talked about Soul, and then we started opening up each other's emotions.
Oh my god.
And then,
you know what? If any
this
of the
became-
podcasts was going to be it, it would be this one. And I'm
Yeah.
glad it was, because we haven't had a good natter like this for a while.
we haven't. We went from very. This has been a very a soul searching.
Yeah.
Uh,
A soul-searching top 10.
It has. It really has. And of course, you know what? I want to officially say it. I'm going to make this a little. I'm going to make these types of intermission episodes. This is obviously still an intermission episode 15, but this is the pilot first proof of concept episode of Late Night Intermission with Oscar W. Fitch and Robbie Tweedy.
Oh, yeah.
Because I like the thought of basically intermission after hours. I like the thought of late at night us 2 bullshitting about films.
Yeah.
As opposed to analysing them.
We can have a couple of drinks. We can have a good time on those ones.
I had very little whiskey, so I don't quite.
I had one singular bottle of a nondescript beer because we're not sponsored.
Yeah.
This one.
But
I'll show
anyway-
you the back of the bottle.
But anyway, that has been our top 10 favourite films of 2020 UK release dates. I'm going to say this now. People at around about this time, I would suspect by the time this episode's out, this might already be out. Keep an eye out for the Heel Film Awards because I like doing that stuff around about this time of the year. And I'll send you the documents, Robbie, for the submissions for nominees and shit because that's always a fun thing to do. I like doing that.
Good stuff.
So keep an eye out for that. Might have already been done by now. I don't know. Like, I don't know what's happening. I'm giving up. You would have seen them all by now. They haven't been uploaded yet as the time of recording this. But throughout the entire other parts, like other episodes that we've been doing, we've been like, hope 2021's going all right. And so I'm not going to even say anything when it's like, I know this would be late February. I'm not even going to predict.
Yeah.
I'm not going to
We're
say
going to stop
anything.
predicting the future and just live our lives.
No, not going to say. Again, I think that our number, my list will be changing. It's probably within the next few weeks, just generally. Yeah. But I'm confident in my top few.
Yeah,
personally, they usually stay the same for the most part. I wouldn't. So through this, I've discovered I wouldn't mind doing a more breakdown video on The Lighthouse. And you know what? I wouldn't mind doing a video, Robbie.
Yeah.
Not a full intermission episode, but when you do watch I'm Thinking of Ending Things, I wouldn't mind doing like a discussion about that.
Cool. Yeah.
Like a mini video.
Yeah.
Like not a full episode, but I don't know, maybe like a 15-20 minute video on just
chatting about
it. Yeah, I wouldn't mind doing
cool.
that.
Good stuff.
Cool. Is there anything you want to say before I start signing off?
Nothing that I can think of off the top of my head.
Cool. One thing I will say is links are in the description, everyone, for everything. for Intermission, including Robbie's Letterboxd.
I have a letterbox now. It's only got 2 reviews on it.
You need to follow me back.
Do I not follow you?
No, you don't. You only follow Scott.
That's amazing. I am a podcast co-host now. Don't follow him on Letterboxd. The only thing we do is talk about films.
The one who got you into it. The one who told you about Letterboxd.
That is so funny.
You don't follow me. Well, now you will, but
I'm gonna do it right now.
I'm gonna wait until you do.
I can't find out you do it. Fuck. How'd you do it?
No, I'm still.
Oh yeah,
still
here we go.
Still no notifications on my phone.
Fucking Scoop McDude, get out of here. I'm so confused. Hang on.
This is beautiful radio air.
This is excellent. Oscar W. Fitchett.
If you're looking for my username, I'm just Fitchett. I got that quick.
For fuck's sake.
And you can't change your username unless you pay for Letterboxd. So that's me for life.
I'm following you. There you go.
There you go. Robbie _Tweedle is now following.
There you go.
You need to deck out your Letterboxd a bit more. You need to put your 4 favourites on there.
I need a profile picture.
You need to get putting diary entries in.
Yeah.
You need to get on the game. I'll guide you through it. Don't worry.
Thanks, Dad.
And anyway, it's 11:30.
It is.
We went a while, and you wanted to talk to me about something after we recorded.
Yeah, I'll do it very briefly.
If you go long, I don't give a shit, Robbie. I don't give a fuck. I'm up at this time now anyway. You can talk to me as long as you want. And with that being said, everyone, this would be part 2. So
yeah, thanks for listening.
Thank you for this, listeners. That will be more digestible in 2 parts thing, as opposed to us being like, here's a 3-hour podcast of us talking about 7 Samurai. I don't know how well that did, but
Christ.
you know,
I have no idea actually. Might have done really well.
We haven't uploaded it yet.
Oh my god, yeah.
Citizen Kane hasn't been uploaded yet.
I was gonna go and check then on the YouTube channel.
No, but yeah.
Idiot.
Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Links for everything will be in the description. And just remember, everyone, 2020 wasn't great. Was pretty poopy.
Mm-hmm.
All my Timothée Chalamet films just got pushed. I didn't have Dune. I didn't have French Dispatch.
That's all right,
gutting.
man.
But
it's all right, man.
The one thing we got in 2020 was fucking Bong Joon-ho won all of these Oscars. The man won.
I thought you were gonna say the Intermission.
Well, you know.
For fuck's sake. Oh god.
And that.
Yeah, we started this podcast. Oh god.
Robbie finally hit puberty just then.
Oh my god.
Thank you, everyone.
Cheers, lads.
Bye.
Bye.